guys? Bobby Roast Beef here, Jigs and friggin' Bigs. We are on it yet again, man. What is this? Show number 270? What is even happening here? Anyway, guys, we got an amazing show. While Joe is basking in the lovely, calm cruise ship experience that he's having right now with his family, I got a new co-host for this week, a special guest co-host. We got the one and only Becca Yassine in the house. And we have fishy shit that went down this week that we can talk about together. It's going to be amazing. My week was crazy. We just wrapped up the multi-species scavenger hunt open series, and it was a roller coaster ride of emotion. I feel like Ron Burgundy right now. That is just a fact. That's where I'm at in my life. On top of that, guys, I managed to get out and fish with a listener. We got out there with Kevin Mahoney, the old biohazard bass, and that was on Sunday. We're going to talk about our experience there as I wrapped up the scavenger hunt series for myself. Man, I am telling you, it is a great show this week. We have sad news out of California to talk about. I got Carlos Martinez, officials. He is the guy who runs Weird Bait Club on Instagram. And we talk about all kinds of good stuff involving content, visual aesthetics, different baits. We get heavy into the bait game. You're not going to want to miss out, guys. Great show coming up. Grab yourself something delicious to enjoy. We'll see you guys right after this. Come on. This is ridiculous. It's bizarre, Becca, because you're not hearing the entire mix that I am, and it's killing me because I'm like, it's
just pure silence, and I'm just like bouncing my head around. Like
you're just like, yeah, this is great. This is awesome.
Yeah, woo.
Oh man, well, we're gonna have ourselves a good show. This is gonna be really, really fantastic. This is the first time you've co-hosted with me. Like,
yeah,
you've done a segment with me live in front of people, and that's fucking insane. You've done pretty much every single facet of Jigs and Bigs that there is now as a guest co-host.
I'm honored. I'm honored.
It's amazing. We have, before we get full into the show, like this show is jam-packed. We have 3 questions in the live well today, 3 different phone calls that came in on the hotline. You guys are loving the hotline. And I think that the speed dial number at jigsandbigs.com, being able to access it right there is just helping a lot. So that is fantastic. But we heard twice from Brandon White this week with different questions that we'll talk about, and a great one. Oh, it tis the season. As we roll into Memorial Day weekend, Binya's question is going to be everyone's reality out there. And I think the timing for it couldn't be any better. Let's first, before we jump into anything here, do a little bit of housekeeping, because I try to mention this to any new listeners who are discovering the show for the very first time, because some people are just like, this is a lot. This is a lot to kind of dive into. So Jigs and Bigs is a fishing podcast, but as one of our listeners and good homie to the show, Kevin Mahoney, Biohazard Bassin, just reminded me on Sunday. He said, this show is so much more than fishing. Like, we talk about everything that is truly fishing adjacent. So we are rooted in fishing content, and we're rooted in fishing discussion, but man, we go all over the place. And we're all about having fun and having amazing adventures, competition, whatever spin you have on your fishing adventures, you're going to find a place for it here at Jigs and Bigs. And that's what it's all about. Weekly podcast drop every single Tuesday on every single podcast platform that's out there. Yes, even on YouTube. You can go and check out the show every single week on YouTube. It's an audio format show, so you don't have to stare at a screen to basically consume our content. It's there for you to absorb passively, which is a good thing because these are hefty programs. We have some special guests in every single show recording. We refer to them as our jig heads. That's the Patreon following. And these are folks that love what we do, and they are huge supporters, so much that they subscribe monthly to get access to the show recording right here. We got John Hagens in here in the house already nice and early in the podcast. John Hagens is going to be brought up a handful of times in this first segment, and it's good stuff. Hope you're doing well, John. John is based in the Ohio area, and they had some tornadoes recently, Becca. Did you hear about this?
Ohio?
Yeah, it is pretty sketch.
That's way too close to us. I don't like that.
Yeah, no. It was kind of nuts. I had heard, I had seen a couple of posts on Instagram stories, and was like, oh man, that's kind of dicey. And then I was talking with John about conditions going through the weekend, and he's like, I think we got fucked. But you'll hear that was not actually the case for John. It actually worked out just fine for John, and it was a very, very, very. It was a photo finish at the multi-species scavenger hunt open that just wrapped up. It was a photo finish. What else do we have to talk about? Jigs and Bigs merch. You know, people like to support Jigs and Bigs, and they want to like wear stuff like this sweet hat that I've got right now. Is rocking the Jigs and Bigs logo, hoodies, t-shirts. We've got some comical stuff out there. We've actually got some real like personalized stuff for specifically to support or show off your favorite host. There's already a Bobby Roast Beef shirt on there. The American Vet Fishing. The Who the Fuck is Joe Brown? That's coming, and all kinds of good stuff. So check out jigsandbigs.com. Everything you need to know about Jigs and Bigs, including links to the registration for the online tournament series. That's all there too. So with all that said, what a week it has been. Becca, you and I got to do some fishy shit this week. We got to go. We did. We went out on Friday together. And so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my 2 outings beforehand. And then we'll dive in and we'll talk about Friday together. When we do that, feel free. If there's anything in your week you want to kind of cover, jump in there. And then I'll conclude with how Saturday and Sunday rounded out for me. So to kick things off, bright and early Monday morning, that was the start of the scavenger hunt tournament. Now, I had just made the decision the weekend prior that I was going to record all of the stuff out on the water, the entire series. Every time I fished, I was going to record that and then put some stuff out. And I actually reached out to Becca and I said, what do you think? Should I just like compile all this and do one big video, or should I do a series? And you were very supportive and you were like, series 100%. And dude, you made the right call. That was the right call. I put out, and I've only been dropping them like every 3 days. So segment 1, part 1 and part 2 are already out. And then on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, you'll be able to see the one where we fished on Friday, which is going to be unbelievable. But Monday I started out and I woke up at 6 a.m. and I, like I do every day during the scavenger hunt, I grab Fishing Chaos and I look to see what's been caught while I've been out asleep. And already there's like half a dozen fish that have been entered. I'm like, are you guys serious? It's not even been a full 6 hours yet. And John Hagens was out just hammering away, putting in some of the species that he's known to target, a lot of catfish. And, he's out there. And then very early, like a little bit later on than John, but still very early in the morning, Tim Behan's got a couple trout species already in there. And I'm like, okay, I have my work cut out for me already. But again, it's day one. It's the first of the month. You know what I mean? It's like everybody's excited. You have this brand new blank slate of species, and all you got to do is just get on them. So I went to a local body of water that will provide a variety for me. Some of the easiest ones to pick off, that being chain pickerel, largemouth, and I initially thought I was going to find a sunfish there. I ended up finding a crappie. And as it would turn out, all of those fish came on the same kind of presentation. They were just biting all over the place. Didn't really get any big upgrades or anything to speak of. But I caught a mess of crappie at this place. And in a previous video, I had talked about how the crappie were a little bit insane there. So I had about maybe 3 or 4 hours I was out there. I decided to call it. I was like, it's probably about as good as today's going to get. Let's go ahead, call it, regroup, and figure out the plan. Now, about the end of this day, I was talking with you, Becca, but I was also talking with my oldest daughter, Chloe, because she wanted me to take her and her girlfriend out. And be honest with you, I was a little apprehensive because I'm fishing to catch some species. I'm out here. I don't know how this is going to work, but I was like, let's do it. We'll just do the best we can. And I decided to jump into one of the more finicky spots, and that's a trout river that's near me that is world renowned. It is a great spot, but it will break your soul. You've fished over at the Swift in the past, Becca, right?
Yes. terrible experience.
Yeah, now that was genuinely the way I felt for a long time. In the last couple of years, things have changed for me. I've turned it around a little bit. And I went there and we had such a great time. It was so good. First, like, we got on the water late, but again, like, I was just like, deep breaths. It's going to be fine. We're going to throw stuff that we think is actually going to get hit. And I started throwing a bait that I've been getting a lot of major confidence in, and that's just a simple swim bait on a jig head. And I've been throwing around this really great color of guppy from HH Customs. And I got a couple of follows. And I noticed because over there, the water, the visibility is insane. Like, so I'm looking for as
so
natural.
Clear.
Oh, yeah, dude, it's nuts.
Stunning.
You're not, like, you have to have a real ability to place a cast in just the right spot at a distance if you're going to play that stealth game, because those fish are fully aware that you're there. You're only a few feet over them in some cases. And I managed to put after making a bait change to the rod that my daughter was using, I tied on an inline spinner, all gold, and like second cast, I was like, yeah, so this is how you work this. I was just showing her how to work it. You know, I'm like, make a long cast and then keep the rod tip up a little bit. And you want to kind of go right over those weeds because this is going to pick some stuff up with a treble hook. She's like, okay. On that second cast, I hooked up with the rainbow that put me at 4 species. It's like, okay, great. Rainbow trout goes in. Everything sounds good. I do need to harvest some rainbows because I have a recipe that's going in the cookbook that I want to shoot video for.
They are delicious.
They are really great. They are. And I'll tell you, you know, the move is, I think, when it comes to all my rainbow trout dishes right now, it's chili crisp.
Ooh, that's a huge thing right now. Like that oil chili stuff.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good.
It is.
And it's so,
I have some in the fridge right now.
Yeah, it is. I'm telling you, it works unbelievably well. And I was like, all right. But I decided, I was just like, you know, I didn't want to have to clean these fish right there and everything. It was one more thing. I didn't want to cut into my fishing time. So I was like, well, go ahead. We'll throw this one back. So we release that fish. We keep going. I hook into a pretty good chain pickerel. I actually, now that I think about it, I probably should have measured that and entered it. It would have been an upgrade. But I figured I'd leave it alone. Just left it alone, said no big deal, release that. We go on our way. I caught several brook trout that were under the 8-inch minimum. Some of these were so small, like they were just like, you know how like you get on those trout and they're so light as you're reeling in, they're just like water skiing across the water.
Yeah.
Absolutely losing their mind. And then they shake off the hook. And, you know, I'm like, this was that small. I'm like, this happened to me once before where I was like, I need a brookie. If I can get a brook trout, this will be great. But the challenge is finding one that's going to mate the minimum. Well, it was the last cast of the day. We were looking at the ramp off to our side. And this was after I bumped onto a past guest on the water who was guiding a couple of clients that morning, coming down in his drift boat, coming along. And it was Matt Tempesta, who is one of our, he's a fly guide. And he was out with these guys earlier in one section of the river and then had launched the boat and came down, passed our way. And so we did a little bit of talk, and my daughter was like kind of embarrassed that someone downriver is like, hey, Bobby, roast beef. And I'm like, yeah, I could feel her like just like wanting to hide in the boat. Like, who is this? But it was awesome. It was awesome bumping into Matt in the field. You know, that's cool. And so we get up to this one spot, and it was kind of a challenge. I managed to hook into another rainbow. And then as we're there, I see this little log jam, like just up against a couple of rocks. And I throw my lure right upriver past it and drift it down. And I'm just kind of swinging on, and it gets hammered by a 9.5-inch brook trout. I was stoked. Absolutely gorgeous fish. I released this fish after getting the measurement. Everything's great. Everybody's happy. Like Chloe and Rach were actually pretty amazed. And I was showing, I'm like, you got to see these fish in the fall. I was like, Google them. Their colors are amazing. They're one of the most beautiful native fish that we have here. They're just absolutely beautiful. And
agreed.
It was pretty badass. It was really good. So that day ended really well. I got home, and then I think it was the next day, it was Thursday, I edited like that video. I was it the Monday video and that video? Yeah, I think it was the Monday and the Wednesday video. Got those both done, set them to be released in a delayed order, so we'd have a few days in between each one. And man, it was just unbelievable. So then I was looking forward to our day going fishing, which is absolutely fantastic. And this is where I'm going to hand this over to you, Becca. Why don't you go ahead and give your perspective on Friday?
Friday was just perfect. I think, yeah, I mean, it's everything you could have hoped for. Like the water temp was ideal. The bass weren't spawning yet. And then you got over cloud, you know, the clouds are in the sky. So when it's like too sunny, never that great.
Yep.
Honestly, like you can do good, but like that overcast is so nice. A little bit of chop on the water towards the end.
Like super slight. Yeah.
Yeah. It was perfect. It was
great.
Literally perfect. And then I just threw on a bait that like I don't really use ever, and I just ended up absolutely killing it. It was hammered it. Yeah, and it was a pond that had a lot of largemouth in it, but there were also smallmouth, so you never really knew which one you were going to catch. I think I ended with like 2 smallmouth, but it didn't even like I didn't even care. Usually I would like maybe preferably want a smallmouth, but it was just one of those days where it was so much fun catching so many fish.
And yours were all quality fish. All your bass were quality. Yeah. You didn't get any bycatch, did you?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think you did. I think it was for you. It was all bass, and you were killing them.
That's my favorite way to fish, which is just like a Texas rig on like slowly dragging it on the bottom. You can't get any better than that. Maybe jerkbait is a close, but I would still say like dragging a Texas rig on the bottom or just a jig in general is my favorite. I love finesse fishing. It
is unbelievable. And it was one of those days too where like, you're right. I think that the clouds had a lot to do with it. That slight 100%. Little chop on the water was just enough wind where it was, I think it played in the favor because they were chasing, you know, but also they were just eating whatever you were putting in front of them. Like they were just voracious.
Yeah. I think we could have thrown literally anything that day and would have been fine catching. Like they would have ate anything we threw at them, 100%.
Yeah, because I was throwing a finesse bladed jig, and I was hammering. In fact, this is wild. So we leave the launch, and there's these guys in another boat coming into the ramp, and as we go by, they're like, "Yeah, we've been catching lots of smallies here," and that's what I had heard from Joe. Was that spot that we were at? Like the smallies are actually really starting to get to be pretty impressive. Like there's some good fish in there, and they've sort of set up pretty good. So I was excited about this. I'm very excited about this. And that was the goal. I needed smallies that day. It was like there was one other body of water I was going to go to that had smallmouth, but I'm like, if I could check that box right now, that means I can deal with pike later. And I caught a fish on my first cast. And we were a little concerned.
Which usually is bad luck,
I know.
To be fair. I didn't want to say it, but you said it first when we were out there. I was like, that's not that good. But it wasn't an impressive catch.
It was. It was an absolute tank sunfish, which, again, that was another point that I did need. And when that, like, I mean, I knew that there were some large gills in there. So I was like, they're going to have no problem eating this presentation at all. And
they didn't.
Yeah. I put a couple of those in the boat all day. I caught I upgraded my crappie. In total that day, I caught 4 crappie that were over 13 inches. That were between 13 and 13 and a half. They were enormous. Amazing. I was very, very impressed with the way everything kind of worked out. You like absolutely like laid the hammer down though. Like
I know, and I which I love, but I also hate because now it's like my fishing like drug addiction for it is coming back. Like like I 100% relapsed, and like all I can think about is going fishing, and today's weather was god awful, so I didn't. But like all I can think about was going fishing, and like to have a day like that again probably won't happen for a little bit because like everything was just set up really well.
Yeah.
But now that's all I want to do is just like sit on your boat and just drag a stupid little worm on the bottom.
Fuck yeah.
It's so bad.
So it was a good day. Now, you had a short, like a window of opportunity to be on the water. You fished about half the day with me, maybe a little bit more. And I went right back. So this is amazing. I know I sent you the link for because I edited that video. That's up and available.
Yeah. And then when I clicked it, you already privated it. So
Gotcha. So let me explain how this worked. I had gone right back out to this spot because there was something that was crazy, and I captured it on video, and I'm really excited for you, especially Becca, to see it because it's some bullshit. I wish I had camera like on the dock where all this went down. I wish I had that perspective because you have me on it instead. But let me explain. So I went right back to the spot where we left, and I started just continuing like working those docks and kind of working my way around over by the dam. And I got to this one spot, and I did upgrade my largemouth at that body of water with a decent one, like a 15 and a half, something like that. I think my previous was like an 11 and a half or a 12. And I was like, okay, it's cool. We'll go ahead. We'll add something, to the board. And there's these two, I want to say it was like you see these U-shaped docks that come out.
Yes.
Except it's...
Yep, I know what you're talking about. You like boat in the middle.
Yeah.
You put your boat... Yeah.
Well, there was no boat there, nothing in between there. And it was like the midsection was like missing. It was just weird. They were just kind of like off to the side. And it looked like it was... And actually, now that I think about it, I think the rest of the dock was just not set up. Like it was just sitting on the bank. So...
Gotcha.
I go over and I make this cast in between these two docks. And as I do, I get walloped hard. And to the dock that was closest to me on the left, if you're looking straight at him, this fish went under the dock. So I'm trying to fight the fish to get him out. He goes under the dock, and the boat was moving at the time. I didn't even spot lock it. I angled back around to get sort of past him. Because again, this is like 4-pound leader I'm using on this BFS combo. And I've never fucking seen this. So I'm fighting this fish. I'm trying to keep tension and keep him from going back out the front. Instead, he did what was the only thing he could do that was worse. He breaches the surface. And at the front of this dock, there's a little gap in between some of the frame that holds it together. In between these two pieces, he goes up and over with my line. So now my leader line is up and around this aluminum dock frame, and I am losing my mind. At this point, like, I'm just reeling up and keeping tension. I eventually reel him up. He comes up to that frame and is out of the water. What the fuck? So I know he's there and he can't move, So I give him a little bit of slack. I move the boat a little bit further. I tap the fucking dock with the boat because I had to get close enough to be able to reach the fish.
Priorities.
I reach the fish. I grab the fish by the lip. I'm trying to I'm afraid to put him back through. So I'm like, I'm ripping my leader. And as I do, the lure falls out. I have the fish in my hand. I can't believe I have him on the boat. Immediately, I back off the trolling motor, get away from the dock, so I'm not like doing any other, So I'm in a safe spot. I get off of there. I'm holding this fish. I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. I measure this fish. It was worth it. It was like 15 and a half, something like that. I release that fish. I enter it. I do the upgrade. I'm happy. That's extra inches. I feel good about that. I sit down. I retie that entire leader. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, everything with that catch that could have gone wrong would have gone wrong.
Yes.
And I looked over, and I should mention, this was the second day that I had brought my wife's favorite dog, Eleanor, on the boat. And she was doing absolutely great, but she was looking at me like, what you seem upset. What's happening? What's going on? And I looked at her dead in the face, and I was like, Eleanor, I am so glad Becca is not on this boat right now because she would be laughing at me so hard right now. And she would be roasting the shit out of me. I'm like, but I couldn't believe I pulled it off. I was like, I'm going to lose this fish. This is going to be bad. Like either I was afraid he was going to shake off of the bait, and then I'd be going over there to just try to collect the bait, or that my leader was going to break, especially being up on that frame. I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it though. I managed to get him in.
They do the most inconvenient things.
They
those
totally
fish,
do.
I swear.
Yeah, they really do. They don't give zero fucks. Those fish have.
They're fighting for their lives. Well, they don't know they're going back in the water, but
That's true. That's true. They have no, who is it? There's a couple of people I think that have actually said this before, that to fish, getting caught must be more like an alien abduction than anything else.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. Like we're holding our phones out there. It's like the probe, and you're like, hey, look, Ma.
Yeah. I saw this video on Instagram, and it was like these two younger boys, and they were like they were holding the bass like under their armpit and like showing them like, what do you call it? Brain rot on TikTok and like scrolling. It was like, oh my God, stop.
It's so ridiculous.
Poor fish.
Oh God. So, I mean, Friday was pretty badass. I got off the water that day.
Good, man.
I'm also glad that you weren't there when I had to load the boat back up, because the wind picked up and was blowing right toward the ramp. And it was like, number one, the water at that pond was super high. High. So I'm like, all right, I put the trailer in to where I was good. The problem was it was so deep, with the way that the ramp is, that the bunks on the side of my trailer were too low. So I'm like, motherfucker, I had to,
Had that happened before.
It was a mess. And this was the fucking greatest part. So like, there's no wake on this lake. I'm having a difficult time, but I'm the only person at the launch at this point. A truck pulls down, and like this dude's girlfriend or wife is in the passenger seat giving me the fucking face. You know what I mean? Just giving me the fucking face, like, wow, what are you doing? And I'm like, I finally get everything all set up. They get pissed before I pull out, and they drive past. Dude, they had a brand new fucking Bayliner on there.
Oh my God.
Like, what the fuck are you going to do? I don't know if they actually, because it's not like at this body of water, there was a giant sign there that was like, no wake, high water.
They're not gonna care.
Yeah.
They probably still did it.
I'll bet you. Well, they didn't. I didn't see them ever launch. They went down to a house or something, and then I didn't see them when I left. So I pulled the boat out, got everything ready, went and hit the road. I did trivia that night, and I had a plan. I was hitting it hard. Saturday, I was going up to, and I think I told you about this on Friday. I was going up to a spot that I consider to be the Golden Corral of multi-species, and it is in a beautiful freaking section of town, the Berkshires. Fucking love the Berkshires. I love the
Berkshires. It is very underrated.
So I go, and it was just Eleanor and I. And we get out there, we send it, and it's a nice day. Today's FTG comes from that trip, actually. Just ramp bullshit, ridiculous. So we launch the boat, we go up, and there's this one bank that I like to kind of do a pass on, and there's a variety of structure up there. There's a bunch of weed beds and edges that you can work the hell out of, and first or second cast, I lay into a jumbo yellow perch, like a 12.5. Just fucking
That's what
beautiful.
You needed too, right?
That's one of exactly what I needed.
Yep.
I'm just like, that is beautiful. So I'm hyped. Now, at this point, I had been playing catch up in third place all week long. And I was feeling really, really good. And I'm like, all I need is, now there's a bunch of species in this body of water that I could track down. But the ones that I was like, I 100% have to find were that perch and the rock bass. Next fish I catch was a rock bass. And I was expecting to have to play games with the rock bass and get one that was going to hit 8 inches. First one hit at 8.5. It was beautiful. Perfect.
Sweet.
Done deal. That's the point. Cool. We're 2 points up. At this point, I had tied at the time John Hagen's. I was tied up with him, and I'm like, this is amazing. He's got me beat on inches, because I think he had a 32 or a 36 inch blue cat. So I'm wow. And I've got a 6-hour drive to be able to catch one of those. It's just, it is what it is. There's some species on that list, so you got to make do with what you got. So I'm like, all right, so I got these 2 points. I made a stop along the way. I stopped and I bought a little styrofoam container of Canadian crawlers, because I was like, I need to get a bullhead.
I love bullhead.
And they'll eat them,
They'll eat anything.
They will.
Like when I've caught them ice fishing on the craziest stuff, man. Like they're just weird fish.
They are. They're bizarre.
But I love them. I think they're so cute.
Yeah.
I love that they don't get big.
Yeah.
There's this pond down the street from the apartment, and they don't get bigger than, I don't know, what would you call that? Like an inch and a half?
Really? That's small?
Yeah, they're that small, and you can catch 20 of them in a row. It doesn't matter. They're like in this,
they will just eat,
output. Yeah, they'll just eat anything. It's just like a little pool of an output of like a river, and they're just like all right there. Like if you put a cast net, you'd probably catch like 100 of them. They're so cool though. They're little whiskers.
That's freaking wild. They're so freaking good. Hold on a second. John Hagen's dropping some. He says, I shake my night crawlers up in a cup of garlic powder and they love it.
Like we're talking kitchen spices here?
Yeah.
Huh? You know what?
I could see that.
You can go to the dollar store and get it, and that's like
it's a buck.
That's a cheap little, yeah.
That's not a terrible idea at all.
We'll rig that up for our fishing adventure coming up.
Yeah, that's not a terrible. We're going to talk about that. That might be the move. So I was prepared. I set up a drop shot, right? And I was like, because there's tons of weeds here. So I'm like, I don't want to put this crawler on the bottom necessarily. So I'm like, I'll leave a foot in between the weight and whatever. But I was smart. I left a Ned rig on the bottom just in case, an EWG Ned. So I'm casting this around and I'm dragging it along. I caught the smallest pumpkin seed. And then I caught, what was it? A small yellow perch too. So I was like, I'm going to put this down. I'm just going to go and like cover as much water as I can and see what I can get into. Because I'm tied right now for second. I was like, I'm happy. We'll just see what I can get into because this is going to take a while. And I'd hate to leave something unturned. But I did make sure to throw it anywhere where I saw specific cover where I had caught bullhead previously in this body of water. And that was the edges of lily pads. So when I saw lily pads growing up, I would stop and throw this around there, drag it around the side, cast to the other side, drag it around the front and see how it went. But, that was, I caught another crappie that day, like just crappie everywhere. It wasn't anything of size. Beautiful, though, wicked dark color. John and I were talking about the appearances of different crappie with the water clarity and how when they have more sun, like they get a little bit more like high contrast. And it's just so fucking beautiful. Just absolutely gorgeous. So I was feeling pretty good. I'm like, I'm tied up at 9 points. I'm like, this is great. I got off the water. I head home. And just kind of kicked it with the family Saturday night, had a good time, got the boat ready for Sunday. Because Sunday I was going out with Kevin Mahoney, the one and only biohazard bassin. Now, he had hit me up earlier in the week. We were talking, actually, I think it was it a live well question he had like the week prior or something like that? But we were talking back and forth, and I was like, dude, what are you doing on Sunday? I'm like, I got to fish up in, I got to go for pike. And I knew he was in the multi-species scavenger hunt as well. I was like, this might work out pretty good. And he was like, dude, yeah, let's do it. So we head to a little spot. We go back up the shears, and it was all about pike that day. Now, Saturday night we had a cold front come in. Temps dropped. It felt nice. The air felt really good. Like it wasn't as muggy as it had been. And I'm like,
yeah, it's been hot.
Yeah, it really was. And then Saturday night things got a little bit chilly, and I was like, oh, all right, this is gonna be kind of interesting. Sunday was a different kind of fishing day. So I went to this lake and I got there early. And I got to tell you, you're the right generation, Becca. If I say this, you're going to understand. Like, I kind of figured out what my vibe is. My vibe is driving at like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning through Main Street in the Berkshires, towing my trailer, listening to Kurt Vile. Like, that's just the vibe I look for. You know,
that's everything I look for too.
Right?
No, not many people are awake. Like you kind of have the world to yourself, you know, and I'm the same way.
Those small towns make it feel like you're going back in time a little bit. And, you're just like, it's just, everything is good. It's just the relaxation. It's all good. So I'm sitting there drinking my coffee. I'm making my way up and I'm like, these are some spots that I want to for sure go and hit at this spot. We'll go ahead. We'll send it. I got there a little bit before Kevin. And I get the boat staged. As I pull up, there are 7 other trucks there with trailers. And I'm like,
way.
okay. I mean, this is a decent sized body of water. That's not much, but I'm like, it's hard to read. Like, is this people thinking it's going to be a great day, or is this people thinking it's going to be absolute dog shit? And I was a little bit concerned because it was much cooler. Like when I stopped on a rest stop to grab a coffee, that's when I put my hoodie on. I was like, it's like actually cold. And I was like, it was windy. I'm like, I'll throw this on. It'll be fine. Again, I was wearing shorts. I was expecting like low to mid 60s and partly cloudy skies. We didn't see the sun except for maybe like 5 minutes early on when we first left the ramp. Like,
oh no,
that was it. And we had showers that came in just little bands. Like it would come in and drizzle a little bit and then just pass. So like, we were both a little bit damp. Now, as I get the boat staged and I'm launching things and everything's good and I tie up to the dock, Kevin, and I felt terrible because he's like, yeah, I wanted to pick up some gear. So he bought 2 new rods. Now, he is an angler who he exclusively uses spinning combos. So he has a variety of powers and actions for different stuff. And I love that. I'm all about that. So he's getting his gear together and we're just kind of talking like we're meeting for the first time. And he's got those doors on his minivan that close automatically. He hits the button and it's closing. We're just kind of talking and we hear
no.
One of the new rods just fucking snapped. I was like,
no.
I was like, God damn it, dude. Oh no. Luckily,
we've all been there though.
Oh yeah. Luckily he was like, he's like, I brought 2 mediums. I don't think I'm going to bring them both. I'm going to bring the new one so I can try it. That's the one that he had snapped. So I was like, at least he got another medium. Like if nothing else, and I'm like, and I've got mediums. Like that's a great size for that to happen to. Like you're good. So we hit the water. I'm looking for a specific piece of structure. And again, doing this from memory, not from not having any electronics. So I was throwing around a white bladed jig with, what was it? A freeloader. Or a Rapala Crush City freeloader. And I'm like, I'm just going to cover water. We've got chop like crazy. We've got overcast skies. This is moving bait territory. Let's do it. So I'm chucking and winding. And I'm like, I'm talking like, have you ever thrown, Becca, a Picasso shock blade before?
What the fuck? No.
I'm gonna make one for you because I buy the Picasso shock blades, what they call bare naked. Like there's no skirt, nothing. Like it's just the painted head, the blade, and the hook.
Yeah.
The hook is, I think, perfect. It's a little bit longer shank, so the hook point goes a little bit further back. The head shape and the blade combination are the hardest vibrating jig I have ever heard. Like chip a tooth. Yes. It's crazy. Okay. I'm going to make one for you because I buy them and like I make my own skirts now. So you tell me what color you want. I'll make one for you.
Black. Because that's like my thing now. Yeah.
Done deal. Yeah.
Don't know.
I can't say that I blame you. I 100% can't say that. Oh yeah, I got you. I'm going to make something real nice for you, Becca. You're going to love this. So next time I see you, I'll have a Picasso shock blade for you and you will fucking absolutely love it. So I'm throwing this.
It lives up to the hype.
Oh yeah. Trust me, it will. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, the rod just like crazy. I'm going from spot to spot. I'm basically looking for the edge of those weeds. Like right where that deeper water starts, and I'm not picking up as much because I want to kind of swing along that side is what I'm looking to do because that's the direction the wind was blowing directly in. Like there was a whole purpose behind this, but spot lock is pointing me in that direction. So I'm casting out over and I'm just trying to get far enough just to get into it to bring it over the top of those weeds. No bullshit, Becca. I get out there and I make this one cast, and it took a little bit of doing, like finagling the spot so that we can get to the area. And I hooked up on like, what was it, a 19? Was it a 19? It was not an impressive northern pike at all. It was kind of laughable, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, it came in at 18 and a half inches. 18 and a half inches, this northern pike. But it was the point that I needed at that moment to take the lead in second place over John Hagen's. Unbelievable.
Oh man, I'm so sorry about this right now. I'm trying my best, but it's so
Binks, for those of you listening,
audio, yeah.
Binks has all but essentially climbed up and is using Becca as a seat now. I'm waiting.
Also, I don't know if anyone can hear him meow the entire time we've been talking.
Not at all. I can't hear it at all.
You can't? Can you hear him purring like so loud right now?
No, I hear your voice and that's it.
Wow, this mic is.
It's pretty badass. That's a great shot.
Hey, everybody, look at my cat's asshole.
Oh my God. Adopt a cat, they say. No, I'm just kidding. We love him. We love him.
Oh, yeah. You know, cats, they're apex predators. We live in our house. It's great. It's awesome.
It's a unique situation.
It for sure is. For sure.
He's a badass. What can I say?
Oh, my goodness. So I was feeling really good. Like, and, you know, Kevin and I fucking had to grind out for any other bites that we got. You know what we put in the boat? 2 fucking rock bass.
Oh my God.
That was it.
Once you catch one rock bass, I feel like you're just like, you got like a curse that day.
Well, it's kind of weird because I was like, you know, I'm going to try something else. I'm like, this is one fish. So I'm going to stick with this and see if I can find out the deal and then kind of move around. And I was like, I think I threw a finesse swim bait. No, I didn't. It was, you know what I threw? I threw a swim jig with a big swim bait trailer on it. And I was like, something a little bit slightly more subtle. You know, it's got the secondary action from the skirt, but it's got that big swim bait tail just kicking in the back. I can rip it through weeds. I can do a lot. So I'm throwing that around. I don't get so much as a follow, a sniff, nothing. I'm like, okay. Well, what if we go the other way around? We'll let the vibration do its thing like we were before, but we'll downsize. Grab my BFS combo. Because now, again, I'm not really targeting pike. You know, I'm just looking to just fish, and like white perch would be great there. What else could I use? A brown trout would have been great. You know, something like that. A carp. There's plenty of carp up there. And I'm like, oh, yeah. You know, let's go. We'll fool around. We'll see what we can come up with. So I'm throwing this around and I hook into a smallie. Fucking way out. Like I make the cast and like I get maybe like 2.5 cranks in on the handle, and this just slams my bait, this smallmouth. Comes up and jumps and shakes the bait right at the end. I was like, okay. I was like,
I love that.
Let's just keep up with this. We'll see what we end up with. I ended up throwing that all over the place, and I caught that one rock bass. And then I think it was a Ned that Kevin had caught a Rocky on, and we went all the way around, and eventually like it got so bad, Becca, and it was so cold I had to put my bibs on. Like I
saw your video you sent me. Yeah, like that's what they're there for, man.
Yeah, I was like, I'm like, but I'm there in shorts and Crocs with a hoodie on, and I'm like, and to Kev's credit, he was prepared. Like he was wearing layers, and he was like, yeah, he's like, the weather doesn't look great. I just want to be prepared. I was like, no, that's good. So I put my bibs on, and I'm like, it works, man. You know, and they definitely helped because we had 2 or 3 other bands of rain showers come through and then just take off. So it was like we just dry out, and then it'd be like, oh, fuck you guys, and we'd be soaked again, and then we'd dry out again, and it was just nuts. We had until about like 1, I think he had to leave in order to go make a baseball game for one of his kids, and I was like, yeah, that's cool, man, no sweat. And I was about 11:30, maybe 20 of 12. We were kind of like, you know, I'm okay with calling it, man, if you want to call it early. I was like, I got the point that I needed. I'm like, we're kind of just beating our freaking heads over the side of the boat here for nothing for the most part, you know, and we fished hard, you know, but there was just nothing to be had. So we went back, loaded up the boat, took off, did our thing. I went and hosted trivia, and this is where it got a little dicey. Earlier in the week, I guess it would have been probably Friday while we were out, John Hagens had sent me a text, and he was like, dude, he goes, my work schedule, this is what fucks me up is the weekends. He's like, my work schedule comes in, it gets kind of crazy. I'm going to be all over the place. He's like, I don't know what's going to happen. And then he mentioned something about maybe getting out on Sunday evening if he's able to, but that the weather that had come through had kind of fucked things up. Like water looked like yoo-hoo. It was just, you know, the cold front was going to probably turn all the fish off. I think it was maybe 8 p.m. It was right about the time I ended trivia. And I got this from John. he sent me a DM on Instagram. And yeah, so it was during like the last round of trivia. He sends me this DM and he goes, this is fantastic. He says, where is it? Where is that fish? Well, I'm going to show you the fish. He sent me he posted it and I put it on my story. He put that big ass carp.
Oh,
right
dang.
in. And not only so he got the 10th point, right? That tied him with me, but John Hagens took second place because he has more inches in total.
So what place did you come in overall?
I placed third. But I mean, third out of three. You know what I mean? Third out of three. It's only the three of us in this thing.
Maybe you don't need to mention the last part.
No, I don't. But yeah, I came in third, and it was by about like 25 inches was about the difference in between that. That was a good carp. He needed, and I'm surprised that John hadn't put a carp in earlier in the week because that's his bread and butter. Catfish and carp is what John Hagens does.
You didn't catch a carp?
I didn't catch a carp, no.
You should have.
Dude, my thing is with carp fishing is that if you want to do it and you want to do it with the least amount of effort, it's going to take effort. There's no way to do it.
Yeah.
So
there's like one spot that I know that like you literally can just like, you can catch them in like 2 seconds, but it's only certain times of year.
And that's the thing. The way people have explained it to me is like if you wanted to go and make a bunch of like homemade bait, right? And let's say you picked a date. Let's say it was the 15th, right? Well, on the 11th, the 12th, the 13th, and the 14th, you want to go and throw bait. You just want to throw bait into that body of water to get them used to there being the food there. And that's one way you can do it. I should have taken that advice because actually there's a small pond not far from me. So I can access it within 10 minutes, even less driving. Get there.
Oh, yeah. Just bait that thing up every day.
Bait the shit out of it. So, yeah. I mean, what's nice is I don't have to enter and open again. I do think I'm going to do it just to be problematic for some of the people that pop in there because I fucking like having this condensed in 1 week. I really do. The monthly is awesome, but like the monthly, there's so many. You find yourself, you're like, I'll get out tomorrow. Or like, yeah, I'm going to get out and do this. When you only have 7 days, it's crazy. And then when the championship comes around in May of 26, like it's a 48-hour throwdown. That's going to be the most exciting part. And that's why I wanted to jump in to the open.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Yeah, because now I'm qualified for the championship and I can enter and really, really start breaking down how are these 48 hours going to go. It's going to be wild. So John, myself, and the winner of the multi-species open, Tim Behan, Tim had 11 points on Sunday as I went into this. So the score, when I got my 10th point before John got his 10th point was 11, 10, 9 with me being right in the middle. So I was fucking feeling good. You know what I'm saying? I was like, fucking A. And Sunday night, I saw Tim's score go to 12. He's like, fuck that. I'm hedging my bets. I'm not fucking around because he knew John was out there skulking around for carp. Fucking amazing.
Those carp, man. But if you can catch them, I mean, it would help so much. Or we bring you to that musky spot finally.
That would help too. I mean, it's crazy. Like, and that's where like the monthly, I suggest to everybody, the monthly scavenger hunt is your best opportunity to get into this unique style of competitive fishing and fuck around a little bit. It's a low level of entry. It's literally $1 a day is what it comes out to. It's a $30 entry fee. And I am trying to do some things to bring back like the raffle element and stuff like that. But I am also trying to create actual sponsorships here so that we can actually, what I want to do is get this to be 100% payout. Like that's the goal, but we need to have sponsors in order to be able to do this because it takes a lot of time to put this together. So I'm working on that. That's something I'm going to, and part of that is I want to do at least a raffle prize from one individual. Like somebody will get like a gift basket or something like that. There will be something else in there because I think it would be great. But fuck around with the monthlies. Go to jigsandbigs.com, look at the monthly one, and all you need is a catch board. Any catch board will do, you know. And when I say catch board, from the brand Catch, KETCH, it's what we've got approved. It's pretty much approved for every single trail. So that's the one that we lean with right now. But get yourself a board. You do better off keeping better records with a good bump board anyway. So, you know, you're going to spend like the $30 on that one time. You've got the board, enter the monthly, try it out, chase the multi-species, and get out of your zone. You know, it's like when I went to Jersey last spring and I caught my snakehead for the scavenger hunt, that was like the most exciting shit, you know? I'd love to go to DC and do some fishing, you know, in the Potomac for some blues, you know, or snakehead, shit like that.
I have a few people that have, you know, wanted to take me out, and I can't believe I haven't done it yet because I love catfish.
I know you do. I'll never forget the catfish that you caught in Texas from that Chevy that you had on loan from. What a cool fucking video. You're just like lounging in the bed of the truck. That is awesome. Were you drinking Busch Lights and were you just putting down snacks at that moment, or?
No, I wasn't doing anything except for just sitting my ass down, dude. Because that was I've caught a catfish out of that pond before, so I knew that they were in there and they were big. So I literally just like did nothing, just sat there and waited. Like I knew it was going to happen. That's my confidence catfish pond, Frisco, Texas. Hit me up.
A little bit of a ride, but hey, let's do it. You know?
Yeah, we can make it by next week.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. I'll clear my schedule. It'll be great. But it's nuts. Like there's 22 different species on there. Like, does everybody have immediate access where they live to them? Nobody does. You know, nobody does. Like, I can't catch flatheads. I can't catch snakeheads. I can't catch blue cats. There's only one body of water.
It's all freshwater too, right?
Yeah, it is all freshwater. Like a lot of people have asked about some drum, and drum can be kind of sketchy because they're in brackish, like redfish and stuff. And stripers, people have asked about stripers. They're like, why don't you include those? And I'm like, the problem is like you can go catch one in saltwater and then submit it, and we don't really have a way to verify. Like there is the GPS location, but it's better to leave them out. It is better for Jigs and Bigs to just do a striper tournament.
Yes. Oh my God, that'd be so cool. I mean? Yeah.
Or to just do a drum tournament.
Bluefish minus like 5 points.
Okay, I could get down with that. Maybe even
people would not submit their bluefish.
Maybe even take a riff off of like the old trifecta, and maybe do an event where it's striper, blues, and fluke. Yeah, and do it when like Albie season's here. Yeah.
Have you ever caught an Albie?
No,
you haven't.
I've caught a sea robin.
Those are cool.
And a scup. Those are the two saltwater fish I've ever caught from like recently.
Yeah, I grew up catching those both. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them. I heard that the sea robins actually taste like really, really good. I can't remember. I might be messing this up, but there's a part that you can get sick from eating from them, I think. That I could literally be lying straight to your face.
I know the guy to ask about. No, because we caught a bunch of sea robins and we made sea robin pizzas, and they were so good. A little bit of garlic, little red onion. Oh my God.
I'm so hungry right now. Okay, so actually you can eat every part of a sea robin. Whatever I just said, no idea what I'm referring to. That's okay. I think some random old man told me at the dock one time that, and I just like went with it.
Fair enough.
And thought it was true, but no, Google told me otherwise. Sorry.
I mean,
scup are delicious too.
Scup are really good. It's like that, and that's the thing. Saltwater fishing for me, that's just all food. You know, like that's
what I want to do at the cabin. Is like I have a few guys that do lobster fishing on the coast of Maine.
Yep.
And just like go out lobster fishing, fluke, like anything you can think of. They have really good like cod fishing out there too. Mm-hmm. And just load the freezer up at the cabin with a bunch of meat, like just good for the summer, the winter, whatever. Oh yeah. That would be so sick. that'd be sick.
That'd be insane. Let's talk about this property for a little bit, Becca, because we haven't talked about it much on the show. Like, I think when you made the purchase, I was like, so Becca told me some shit that's going to be fucking wild. Like, you own property in Maine now.
I do. Yes.
Fucking
I'm considered a dual citizen to the state of Maine, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Well, I'm not recognized by the state as a dual citizen, but the people that, yeah, basically, who cares? But I'm legally allowed to purchase a gun, which was sick. That was sick.
I meant to ask you, what did you buy, or are you still shopping?
No, I purchased a 20 mil. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yep. I haven't shot it yet. I loaded it up and kept it with me because I have 7 security cameras right now, looking to get more. And then my neighbors have 30 trail cameras everywhere. And they have caught an unbelievable amount of black bears and cubs on the camera. They're right behind both of our properties. So Jesus. I've been having the whole time I was just up there, just kind of had it with me because they're there. They're very much so there.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, the property's great, man. I love it. It's such a different everything. The people, everyone tells me I can shower at their place. That guy, Frank, the raccoon guy, his wife knew I was at the cabin. I talked to her a bunch and she brought me over homemade chicken salad and freshly baked sourdough.
That's
and
awesome.
Then
that's awesome.
People a couple miles up the road, which would, I guess, considered to be my neighbors, but they have 30 chickens, and she brought me a dozen eggs and introduced herself. Everyone's just take food here, and I'm yes, please.
They're probably just glad to have somebody in that space because it has been empty for so long.
Yeah, they all were every time we drive by, we would just be yeah, it's haunted. I was oh, thank you.
Riley was fucking with you about there being ghosts and shit, wasn't he?
Everyone is fuck you guys. I have a panic attack disorder, you piece of shit. I'm gonna freak out.
I think it's so badass. And let's be honest, the cabin itself is you're probably way too young, but have you ever seen the movie with Tom Hanks, The Money Pit?
No, I'm not a movie gal, period.
Okay.
So
you should watch it one night. It's an old movie from the 80s, but it is funny. It's about this couple. They come into this house and it's just falling apart. They think it's this great deal. They get it cheap, but it's falling apart. And it's hilarious.
I didn't get mine cheap and it's
It was, but that's the thing. You didn't get yours cheap, but also it wasn't long before you figured out what was up, and you're doing some significant work over there. How are you feeling about where would you say you are percentage wise to what your vision is?
God, financially, 0% there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. My next video going up, I did a huge project at the cabin, and it was so much more money than I thought. But once you start something, you can't really stop. So I finished it. So now I just, I'm thinking about the route that I want to go. I got roughly 3 or 4 big major projects. Actually, no, 5 major projects I need to do to the cabin until I can start adding insulation, adding walls, flooring, yada, yada. But as of right now, I think I'm very close to being able to at least sleep in it.
That's a big step because you weren't able to before.
Oh, heck no. Not at all. But my issue is I posted it on my Instagram story. I don't know if you saw it, but again, I have a bunch of security cameras everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And my phone went off at 2 a.m. about a week ago. And it was 3 alerts, right away, one camera. And I was oh my God, no. Someone's at the property. It's a bear. It's a human. Nope. It's the raccoons are back. And it's not one. I only posted the one on my Instagram story, but there were 3 raccoons trying to climb back in to to the cabin, and I was talking to the trapper that I work with, the guy Frank. Like we're best friends now. Like he's not even just like someone I hired.
He's part of the family at this point.
Yeah, 100%. And we hopped on a call the next morning, and he basically told me like raccoons, when they want to get in, they will, and they would rip my roof off, and on average 15 minutes rip a hole through a wall, a roof, something, and get inside the property. Like if they want to get in, they're getting in. So that's been super comforting all week. Like love that.
Yeah.
But besides the raccoon problem, I feel like we're making insane progress. I just need to get like an excavator out there and really get some things going. But I just hired a tree guy as well. So we're going to plant 15 Eastern white pine trees. Because I had a little bit of a weirdo approach my property, and you can kind of see the property on one of the corners, and there's not enough privacy, so I'm planting trees there besides like a fence.
Yep.
Dude was weird, and I asked all my neighbors about him, and they were all like, holy crap, stay away. And I was like, no, cool. He came over and hung out for 3 hours. So
what?
Yep.
He was just wandering around, like checking out your property, or?
I like messed up my trailer really bad, and when I tried pulling into the driveway, all my wood came flying out of my trailer, and it was pressure treated. Seeing that. Yeah, it was bad. And he drove by in his truck, and he was like, "Oh, hey neighbor, like haven't met you yet. Introduce myself, whatever. Like, let me help you." And I was like, "Sure, whatever." So it took us a while to move all that wood. Like, I mean, you're talking like $3,000 worth of wood.
Did you recognize him from the video, or did you know who he was?
I had no idea who he was. I've seen his truck drive back and forth before, so like I know he lived like way in the back.
Yep.
But I just was like, it's Maine. Everyone's so nice. Yeah. And like I was like, sure, like help me out. And we talked for a while, and he just said some really like weird shit you don't say to someone right when you meet him, like weird fucking stuff. And I caught the vibe right away, and I came up with like an excuse that my neighbor needed me to help her babysit, or like something so stupid.
Yep. But it got you.
So he ended up, and he ended up leaving, and he got really quiet when he saw my security cameras too, which made me feel weird. And he was like, "Oh, you got a security camera?" And I was like, "Of course. I have like 40 more in the mail coming," which is a lie, but he doesn't know that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So then that's actually the next day when I went and bought the gun, was after that interaction. But yeah, my neighbors, 3 people told me that he has restraining orders for robbing people that live like off grid. So he goes into these homes that like obviously don't have much, and they're just like little cabins like mine in the woods, and it knows when they're not there, robs them. And then he flies his drone in this girl's window. It gets worse. There's a right at the start of his driveway, it says, I haven't seen it, this is what my neighbor said to me. There's a caution, we walk around nude sign. Yeah. Which is like weird, because he mentioned to me he lives with his ex-wife and his ex-wife's current husband. And I was like, okay, you guys.
He's the cuck.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, what else is the answer there? Oh God. Yeah. So I got like all my money's going towards these stupid fucking trees, dude. All my money.
It's a good investment though. I mean, if nothing else, you'll get some privacy out of it. You know, that's man, that's the thing. Like, there can be weirdos anywhere. You know what I mean? And
but people in Maine that are weird are worse because the laws are so different. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like they I don't know if I got to elaborate on that, but these people, they won't get in trouble for a lot of things you'd get in trouble
in other places. Yeah.
So they don't give a fuck at all. So yeah, that's why I bought a gun right away. Literally walked into the store and was like, please.
Yeah. Fucking A.
Yep.
Oh, Becca's just out here looking for a reason. God damn it. Just looking for a fucking reason.
I'm going to be walking around my property just ready to go.
She's going to be all going fucking Yosemite Sam on her neighbor.
Oh, you varmint.
Oh, my God. That's wild. That is wild.
Yeah.
There's going to be so much amazing camp content. Like from there.
Oh, yeah.
That once this is all like, and who knew it was going to take that kind of a turn? This is going to be crazy. Crazy.
Dude, I think about the cabin 24/7 because there's so many hiccups along the way. I thought I was going to do this and then I thought I was going to do that. Like every day is like something else. It hurts my brain, but in a good way. Like so like my creativity when it comes to that cabin is like through the roof.
It's overdrive,
and it's like a passion project too. So the cabin's so sick. I can't wait for you to come see it. The fishing up there is incredible.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really, really excited. In fact, if we're going to do this, we should plan a time and then let me know like what bodies of water I should look at and I'll do my homework in advance. And then I'll come up. We'll make some shit happen.
There's so much up there.
That's so badass.
It's like everywhere I'm just surrounded by water up there. Like it's crazy. So I'll send you like the pin.
Yeah.
And then you'll see everything. It's crazy.
That's fucking awesome. I'm so stoked for you. I think that everything you're doing, your entire life is just going to get even more wild and amazing, and the fact that everybody's going to get to experience this through your YouTube channel is just even fucking cooler,
Yeah, I'm stoked about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very much so 90% where I want to be. 90%.
So that's stoked. And like we were talking about this the other day, like I am almost twice her age. You know what I'm saying?
But bros are bros. It's fine.
I'm telling you, if I had my shit together and just the vision when I was your age, like you are so blessed to have just the vision and the direction of what you're looking at to be working on and getting toward. Like, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, being a stubborn bitch isn't always the worst thing.
That definitely has its benefits. You know what I mean? It really does. It really does.
Say what you want.
Oh my goodness. So that's our week in review. We'll get caught up a little bit. Let me just double check because we are going to do headlines this week. Joe Brown is on a cruise ship, but we are still going to do headlines. Let's go ahead and we'll jump in. We'll do it right here. Let's go. Where's that headline intro music? Here we go. Alrighty, guys. So we're going to take the mood and we're going to go down with it a little bit, but I promise you we are going to come right back up. We got two headlines this week. One of them very, very local. The first one comes from Wired to Fish, and this story broke yesterday. Kayak angler Ryan Mora died during a Bass Angler Magazine, that's BAM, tournament trail event on May the 17th at Lake, I believe it's Almanor in Plumas County, California. Ryan was 38 years old. The quote says, "The day began like any other tournament morning under cloudy skies and a light 3 to 4 mile per hour breeze," stated a release from BAM. At 6:37 a.m., BAM tournament director Michael Bray received an urgent call reporting an unmanned kayak on the lake. BAM staff, including CEO Mark Lisagny, immediately responded to the GPS location provided and located Ryan Mora in the water at approximately 6:42 a.m. So it wasn't very late after they left. Mora, who was wearing a personal flotation device or PFD, was quickly pulled aboard by the BAM media boat and was unresponsive, the release says. Bystanders called 911 immediately and CPR was performed while Mora was transported to emergency responders. Paramedics met Mora at the dock at 6:47 and worked for 45 minutes attempting to revive him. He could not be resuscitated. Yesterday was a tough day for the kayak fishing community, said fellow angler Shane Jones in a social media post. "My heart is heavy and my prayers go out to Ryan's family, his friends, and everyone involved in the rescue efforts, and all the anglers on the circuit whose lives he touched. His presence will be deeply missed, but his spirit will remain with us on the water." Mara's cause of death has not yet been determined and is currently under investigation by the Plumas County Sheriff's Department. In response to the tragic loss, the event was immediately canceled, BAM stated. An update regarding the BAM Kayak Series schedule will be shared in the coming days. Ryan was a respected competitor, a fellow sportsman, and beloved friend to many in the kayak fishing community. He took all the proper safety precautions and was participating in a sanctioned event. This heartbreaking incident is a reminder of the unpredictable nature of the outdoors. The entire BAM family extends our deepest condolences to Ryan's loved ones. We ask that the community join us in keeping his family in our thoughts and prayers during this incredibly difficult time. BAM further says that updates will be made available pending the official release from Plumas County Sheriff's Office. That is terrible to hear. And it is, I mean, obviously this is a sanctioned tournament. Most of these sanctioned tournaments are going to have a requirement that there be a PFD worn anyway to be on there. But, this is one of those things. This story was, I think John Higgins had shared this with me, and we talked about it a bit. And he was like, I'm thinking maybe it was like cardiac arrest. And that's exactly what I thought. Something like that. Stroke.
That's exactly where my head went. It's crazy. I haven't even heard about this.
Yeah, I mean, it just broke, and I got this. This came my way early this morning, and this is one of the reasons why. And this is we've been saying this for a long time. Wear your PFDs. It's not a guarantee, but had something happened to him and he fell into the water without his PFD, he for sure would have never survived. Guaranteed. Yeah. It's not about being a strong swimmer. It's just that gives you a fighting chance. And unfortunately, in this situation, it that did not seem to make a difference. Who knows what happened? But that's like right after launch. It seems like it happened. So we'll see.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty shitty. It's definitely not a pick me up kind of story. But I do have.
But it's an important one, though. Yeah. You got to spread his name and whatnot.
Yeah, and you want to let people know exactly what the story is, and I think everybody did everything right. That they could anyway, as far as getting to him as quickly as possible, and then getting the emergency professionals, the EMTs there to do what they could do. But
canceled the tournament, which props, because I know some people would have been crazy about that. Thank God they canceled it,
Yep. Yeah, I mean, there's certain things where you've got to say hey guys, we got, and also if for nothing else, if there's some type of if there's an investigation going on, there's no way they could pull off having that tournament. No way. No. But there is good news that did come in, and this came in on Sunday as well. So on my way back, changing spots, I made a quick stop at the launch so that I could make use of the plumbing, at the ramp. It was horrible and disgusting. So we're not going to talk about that any further. But on my walk back to the boat, I got a text from a very, very excited Adam Blomeke. And Adam had sent me a video, and he was holding an absolute tank largemouth in his hand. Adam Blomeke broke his personal best this past, I think it was Sunday. I think it was Sunday when he broke his PB. I asked him this morning to give me the details just so I could go over it all. This bass came in at 6 pounds, 8 ounces, was caught on a 7/16 ounce GP2 finesse jig with a black and blue clutch craw as a trailer. Both baits are from Motion Fishing. Adam is a big, domestically craft tackle kind of guy, Dark Horse Tackle supporter, team member. He's out doing his thing. And he supports all of this stuff, and he lives and dies by that local bait stuff, and it paid off for him. So congrats again, Adam. I told him, I said to him, I texted him, welcome to the 6 Pounder Club, and he was like, I want to go catch another, and I was like, no, sir.
You want to catch a 7.
And then we can go, bit by bit and make it all happen. I love hearing when people are catching a PB and they're excited about it and they share all the details and everything like that. And we don't really do this, but I think headlines is a great place to do it. So like if you break a PB, if you're listening to this show, and I'm gonna say send this over to myself or to Joe at American Vet Fishing. Send over your details of your PB. Obviously, please leave the body of water out of it. I don't even want to know because I don't want people to ask. So leave the body of water out of it like Adam did, and just tell me the details about it so we can at least shout you out on the show, because that is pretty freaking awesome. Maybe I'll even make a little bit of a jingle, that my co-host won't be able to hear when I play recorded.
I know.
Man, you're gonna have to actually listen to this show, like to get the full.
I know. I want to know what the hype is about these sounds. I can't hear.
Yeah, trust me, it'll be a game changer. You'll be like, oh my god, there's.
Yeah, I want to hear the intro.
So, I mean, I would say, that is, let's go ahead and do that. If you break a PB, and you've crossed that accomplishment, all I want is measurement numbers, length or weight, or even better, both. Give me both.
Everything you got except for the location.
Yeah, except don't give me the body of water. If anybody asks where you got it, I'm going to say where it was wet. That's as big of an answer as I'm going to share as far as like where they caught it. That was it. I don't want to know that stuff, but we do want to, shout you out and celebrate you a little bit. But how do you feel, co-host? How do you feel, Becca? Like, this is your first co-host show with me. And I mean, segment 1, we're at the end of it. We're going to take a short break. We're going to come back. Becca is going to do our Just the Tip segment this week, which is going to be exciting. I have an FTG that we're going to send out that is just awesome. And we have Carlos Martinez, official, and a Weird Bait Club on Instagram. We have a great conversation. That's coming up as well. And not one, not two, but we have 3 different questions that we're going to answer in the live. Well, guys, do not go too far. More Jigs and Bigs goodness coming up in just a few. We will see you in a bit. Don't go too far.
And perhaps play a little game called Just the Tip. Just for a second, just to see how it feels. Or, ouch, ouch, you're on my hair.
Okay.
All right, guys, we're back. Jigs and Bigs. We got Becca Yassine as our co-host this week, while Joe is living the life in the lap of luxury right there on a cruise ship somewhere off the southern eastern coast.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, he's just,
so jealous.
I'm sure right now he's just like, oh, I should be recording with Bobby right now. But, I'm sure he's at a buffet or he's drinking a bunch and he's going to eat that bill later. I don't know if he realizes that's how it works on a cruise ship.
We shouldn't tell him.
We shouldn't. Yeah, we'll keep that to ourselves. But Becca has a good tip. This is a great tip, and it's a boat life tip. Becca, take it away.
Well, all right, you're going fishing, and it's hot, it's summer, whatever. You usually wake up early. I never want to, pack multiple things. I don't want to bring a sandwich. I don't want to bring this. I don't want to bring that. So I started going to the grocery store either the night before or the morning of and just buying a massive watermelon. Not the small ones. The small ones taste different. I'll get a big one and I'll put it on the boat. And then when come time, I'll crack it open. And it's I don't know why, there has to be scientific to this, but the inside of a watermelon does not get hot for some reason.
Yeah.
It's always a good temp. So you're getting something cold, refreshing. John just said it in the comments, super hydrating as well.
Yeah.
So you're knocking off everything right there, and you don't have to worry about all these snacks. You just take your watermelon and you put it under the console or something. I've done it in a canoe as well. I have not tried a kayak. So, I guess let me know how that goes, but they're pretty heavy.
Do they float? So if you dropped it overboard, have you ever dropped it? Do they float?
If it floats, that would be the best tip ever. Hold on. Do watermelon... before I type it in, I'm going to say no.
I would think no, too, because there's so much water.
They do float.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
okay. See, that's where you and I are different. You're going to snack on a watermelon on a boat. Bobby Roast Beef is bringing a rum ham. That's just how it works.
Yeah, but think about the the refreshing aspect of it.
Yeah.
It's
I agree.
The things I would do right now for a watermelon isn't normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so unholy. All you need knife, but you don't even need knife. You can crack it open over your knee, and then a spoon. That's it.
Yeah.
Literally all you need. And then you have the best boat snack ever. I cannot emphasize
and
that
it's
enough.
super low calories.
Watermelon.
It's not going to weigh you down. Super hydrating. No, it makes sense. It definitely makes sense.
You get that little sugar rush, you know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah. Natural sugars
And I will
too.
and I will eat that entire watermelon. So no, I'm not sharing my watermelon with you, but I will be bringing an entire watermelon. You don't got to cut it up beforehand, you know?
No, that's nice to keep it together. Although the real pro tip, now I know you're not the biggest drinker. Like Becca likes to party, but Becca likes to party a little bit on a different level than Bobby Roast Beef does. You know, it's always nice to take a bottle of like a silver tequila or vodka and just like put a hole in that watermelon and then just let the bottle drain into it and then enjoy and give the keys to somebody else.
Bring a little bit of tahini. Every time I think of watermelon, I think of like the tahini,
A little bit of
like
spice,
oh my gosh.
Boat snacks and boat drinks are pinnacle to a good experience. Yeah, they really, really are. And
it doesn't have to be alcoholic drinks either. Like like drink your water. But once you have like a nice Diet Coke, like the other day you had a nice Diet Coke. I mean, come on.
Fucking
like
crisp.
You can't. And another thing about like diet soda too, like yes, it gets warm, but it takes a while to get warm, and they stay like a nice temp as well.
Yeah. A little cooler and a little thought ahead to get some ice is an absolute game changer. It really, really is. Like we had a question come up, and this was in Livewell, like I think 2 weeks ago, and it was, "What's your ideal like on the water snack and drink?" Like I feel like the watermelon is just clutch. Like that's
always going to be my answer.
It's clutch. What's your go-to beverage? Like if you could have pick of anything, limited edition, anything where you're like, I want this on the water because it's like a little reward after I catch a fish. Like I'm one of these people. I'm like a pleasure delayer. When I'm, out with the fish whistle and I'm fishing, I wait until I catch a fish before I take a rip off the fish whistle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. My brain went towards two different drinks. It depends. If it's early morning, I would like to treat myself to a nice Red Bull. I love a good Red Bull.
Okay, yeah, you do like your energy drinks.
It's a little too much. I've gotten a lot better though.
You totally have. Yeah, I always used to see you holding a Celsius or a Red Bull or something.
It was bad, but I'm like a controlled human. Now I only get the small Red Bulls too. Like I don't get the big ones. I get the really small ones. I think that one's only 120 milligrams of caffeine, still a lot, but not bad.
That's not that bad.
And then for non-caffeinated drinks, what is that stupid name? Liquid Death?
Oh, the water?
Yeah, but the lemon lime
flavored ones. Oh, dude, they have a whole line of flavored Liquid Death.
The lemon lime one fucking slaps. That is unreal.
So we're gonna go back to Moosehead. Yes. I picked up like an 8-pack of like Liquid Death mango chainsaw. Now I love mango.
I haven't had those.
Dude, I am a mango guy. Like my beer in the summertime is Golden Road's Mango Cart with a tahini rim. Oh my God. It's good. Bro.
Get out.
It's so good. Like, so
we're alcoholics, right?
We are. We're absolute booze hounds. So I'm mango anything, but mango chainsaw with a little tequila on ice is out of this world.
They have a lot of shit now. I went into the grocery store because I don't really buy Liquid Death. They're expensive, but they're good.
I'm a little bit more of a Polar guy. I'm a New England guy, so Polar Seltzer and me, we're buddies. Yeah,
see, I don't really like seltzers that much.
Yeah.
That it would be I saw something about that lemon lime Liquid Death one. But when I went to the grocery store the other day, they had at least 10 different Liquid Death flavors. It was crazy. I gotta get going on trying them because if the lemon lime is as good, the other ones have to be unreal.
The mango's great. There's a berry one that's fine. The lime one is out of this world. And
that's what I meant, not lemon lime.
Oh, it was the lime one? Yeah, the lime one's out of this world. It really is.
No. There's no such thing as lemon lime.
There's one they are making Liquid Death like soft drink flavored ones. Like there's one that's like kind of supposed to taste a little like Dr. Pepper. And
I saw that.
Yeah, my wife got me some of those. Holly picked up like a 4-pack and they are great. Like they really are.
Really?
Yeah. But I'm like, I'm a diet soda junkie. Yeah. Oh, they are. Yeah, they are.
Okay.
I believe
try
it's still a flavored canned water, but the flavor is that unique where it's supposed to mimic like a flavor of soft drink or something. I am a piece of trash. I will drink the Diet Cokes. I will drink, give me the artificial sweeteners,
I love the fake shit. We're American to the core that we love the gross chemicals.
I had this conversation with Maria about Verner's Diet Ginger Ale or Diet Ginger Soda.
Oh, yeah. You made me try that.
Yeah, you had one of those, and you were like,
"Oh,
this fucking slaps," and it does. It's out of this world. I've opened my last 12-pack. When I came back from Michigan, I had to stop and get some of those and some Kugels.
Yeah.
Had to, and I had them in the fridge, and everything is great. And I've cracked open the last 12-pack, and I'm like, I just would like to have, when we fish later this week, I'd like to have like just an empty can floating around or a single one in my cooler. And if she's like, what the fuck? Because it's weird to see that in New England. It is.
Yeah, she would definitely like trip out because that's like, her birthday. Oh, fun fact. Her birthday is tomorrow.
Shut up.
And yeah. And I got her birthday gift. Hopefully is this coming? No. There's no way she would hear this before. I got her a bunch of shit, but I got her fluff. Like just a bottle of fluff.
That's awesome. Yes.
She loves it. She loves it.
That is fucking awesome. Oh, I love that idea. Hold on a second.
Oh, well, you actually might get this as well. Maybe not. You don't really have Mary Lou's near you, do you?
No, I got to go further toward the eastern part of the state. Mary Lou's is great, though.
Yeah, I got her like grounded coffee beans of Mary Lou's as well because fucking coffee addict over there. I gotta pick up a can of Monsoon for her. I did. I don't know if you remember this, but I after you guys were on the show together, I had gone out and I had picked up and I was like, Maria, send me your address. And then she got crazy busy and I forgot to nag her about it. And I was like, well, this coffee's going to go to waste. Otherwise I'm going to use it and I'll just get her another can. So I got to pick one up this week for her. The liquid sunshine. Yeah, just surprise her. Don't even let her know you.
I'm going to just shut up and just be like, oh, here you go. Fucking A.
Yeah.
She'll be stoked. John has a comment that I love about Becca's tip this week about the watermelon. She goes, and if you split it in half after you've spooned it out, you can use the empty rind as a rind bowl as a latrine.
What the hell is a latrine?
It's a toilet.
Oh my God.
It's a toilet, Becca.
Wait, that is so smart, though.
It's genius.
It's not going to leak out.
No way, not at all. And then, it's so funny. There was somebody who was telling me that, it was Todd Sefton. It was Todd was telling me, he's like, oh, yeah, my buddy on his boat would take like an empty, like a milk jug, like a 1 gallon jug or something, or like any type of 1 gallon jug and rinse it out, but cut the bottom off and leave the handle and the cap and everything. And then you just use that as a latrine. And then you just conspicuously dump it right over the side of the boat. I'm like, and it's a nice wide area. So you're like with turbulence and wind and stuff like that. Like you're not trying to aim down like the barrel of like, my bong or something like that,
Yeah.
It's just kind of awesome.
That's not a bad idea either.
No, it was when we were on St. Clair. I was like, oh, no shit, that's a good idea. Because that chop was like to try to take a leak off of the boat like that sucks. When you're like, the boat's going, you're just like, son of a bitch. Like it's...
Praying, yep.
Oh, he says, dude, look up brief reliefs. We use those when we work for AT&T. Okay. Oh, no. Okay. Oh, no. Do I want to? Is this happening? Brief.
I will let you know.
Relief.
Oh, wait. Before I say anything, let me actually click the website.
Oh.
I've bought one of these before at the trade show. Yeah, and I never used it, but I have them somewhere.
This actually would be really great to have on the boat.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
I had these. I can't remember what trade show it was, but they were selling them, and I was like, whatever. Dude,
this is a great idea. John, thank you for this tip. That is fantastic. What an odd direction this conversation has gone from hydrating with a healthy snack the day before you go out fishing.
You're
One
gonna
stop.
pee a lot.
Yeah.
Like you eat an entire watermelon and you're peeing for hours.
Constantly,
so I mean,
100%.
it makes sense.
You know,
it makes sense.
I will say, getting back again, because all I can talk about is alcohol. Getting back to like refreshing, like you're right. Watermelon is just one of those things. It's stupid refreshing. But also like cucumber. Have you ever noticed if you have like a cocktail that's got cucumber as an ingredient, it's also somehow more refreshing? And I think it's just the water content and like something about being able to smell the cucumber or the watermelon and all that. Like it's just kind of nuts. I love it. I freaking love it.
I love fruit.
Yeah.
Love fruit.
He says they go hand in hand as long as you don't go hand in hand while peeing. Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Oh, my goodness. All right. So this ought to be kind of interesting. I have been waiting to talk about this since Saturday morning. Here we go. Absolute buffoonery at the boat launch. My God. I get to the ramp with Eleanor and I'm staging my boat. Everything's cool. Dude in a minivan comes barreling down the driveway over to the ramp. And at this ramp, there are not one, not two lanes, but 3 lanes that somebody could back a trailer down to launch a boat or kayak, whatever personal vessel they've got. Well, your boy Bobby Roast Beef was just ready to go. It just closed up the back of the 4Runner. Rods were in place. Everything was ready to go. And I'm just about to go get in the truck, and I see this minivan come and park right in the middle lane, perpendicular to the ramp, fully blocking the middle lane and partially blocking both the left and the right-hand lanes of this ramp. I see the guy get out of the van, and I said, "Hey, bud." I go, you sending it today? And he's like, "Yeah, man, it's going to be great." And I was like, "Awesome. Do you think maybe you could pull away from the ramp so I could launch my boat? That'd be cool." And he was like, "Oh, yeah." Like he had no idea that maybe I was going to launch my boat right there.
They should, when you go to get your boating license and you take the test and all that stuff, there needs to be like a boat ramp, like, what is the word? Etiquette?
Etiquette?
Like, like you need to know stuff like that for other people, you know? They should, but they don't teach you that. But there's so many problems like that you run into.
And the worst part was like this guy was just dropping off his 2 kids and their kayaks like for the day. But again, like not paying attention that maybe somebody else needed to use this. I was like, you've got to be shitting me. So, as a solution to this, I'm going to take a good look. Someone had recently sent, and actually there's a couple of people that recently had sent something to me on social media where these business card sized little flyers that people would post or they would stick under windshields of cars for people that park like assholes or something like that. So I'm toying around with the idea of making some of these, maybe even laminating them so that way they're like waterproof and everything, or, you know, and don't go to shit if it rains or whatever. I'm thinking about toying around with some of this stuff and making some of these available for you guys so that if you have somebody that parks like a dipshit where a trailer should be or something like that, you know, maybe there can be a message there and a QR code that they could scan it, and it basically goes to maybe an AI generated video or something of that, you know, talking about how the proper boat etiquette, you know, or boat launch etiquette, where to park, how to stage and then launch and all this other stuff. Maybe that's not a terrible idea. So something that's
I think it's a good idea. Just because like it's like almost every other time that I used to launch my boat, like something like that would happen. Yep. And it gets to the point where you're like, okay, no, these people just don't know. Like, you can't even get mad at them. It's like, okay, they just don't understand it, you know?
And a lot of it is like, it's just not thinking, you know? It's like, they're like, oh, no, there's no system. I'm just going to go do this. Oh, I'm only launching my kayak. It doesn't matter. It's your truck, your car, your vehicle that's blocking the way. Don't be a dumbass. Just don't be a dumbass. So yeah, that's our FTG this week. This is a short, sweet little segment right here. But we have Carlos Martinez. We have he is the mastermind but behind the Weird Bait Club, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy this. We have a good conversation. Carlos's content caught my eye because it's Instagram content that has some of the most unique visual aesthetics to it. It looks so slick. His music selection, everything about his reels is just unbelievably. It appeals to Bobby Roast Beef, and I was like, we got to have a conversation. He is very, very, very enthusiastic about fishing, and I think his content's really great. So go ahead. We have this great conversation. We'll jump into that. We'll see you guys on the back end of this for the live well. Don't go too far. Alrighty, guys. Bobby Roast Beef here, Jigs and Bigs podcast. Everybody, it's our my favorite segment of the show are these interview segments. We talk with anglers from all levels, all over the country, we've had some international ones too, I guess all over the world, damn it. And today we're joined by Carlos Martinez. Now, Carlos Martinez is this was a connection that came through our previous guest in the previous episode, Cat Dip, and we got connected through there, and I started looking at some of Carlos's stuff, and I think his socials on his Instagram, it's called Official, and we'll talk about like the name, the wordplay in there and everything. Some of the stuff, the visual aesthetic is amazing. Anyway, he's also handling the Weird Bait Club, which we're going to dive into because it's one of the most interesting concepts that are out there, and some of the stuff is probably some of the most unique stuff that he features that you've really kind of ever seen. So, Carlos, how you doing, buddy? Welcome to the show.
How's it going? I'm nervous, but
don't be nervous, buddy. Yeah, I'm telling you, this is just like I said, two dudes just talking fishing here, and I always like to start these segments, especially when we have a guest on for the very first time, and that's the majority of it. We have a handful of follow-ups, but for the most part, we're getting to know people. So I always tell everybody I'm a sucker for an origin story. Like that's what I want to hear from the beginning to kind of set the stage. Why don't we talk a little bit about your relationship with fishing? How were you introduced to it? Like, what was the dynamic there? Did you ever put it down and then pick it back up again? What was that like? And then also, where did the inspiration come to end up where you are right now, where you're creating such unique content?
The first time I remember fishing, and I have a really bad memory.
Yep.
So I remember middle school.
Oh, all right, nice.
I remember it well because my father worked at a farm, and he had it was kind of like a creek connected to a pond.
Yep.
And we would go back there and fish, and it started with your Zepcos and what's the other company? Ugly Sticks. Mm-hmm. And we had we didn't do bait. I don't remember ever doing bait. I remember doing like soft plastic lizards with a janky rig hook on it.
Oh yeah,
but
that's a lot of people start like that. Like you'll see bank fishing spots that get tons of pressure. You'll find these crazy combinations that people will just rig because that's
like
how
a lot
it
of
is.
Swivels and
so much hardware. It's it's wild, man.
But it was This is not a pressured area or anything. It's like in the back of a farm. So it was like, I guess everything that saw something was biting. But what was I going to say? I remember going back there with my dad. My dad didn't know about fishing. Well, he knew somewhat of fishing, but he wasn't like some type of pro that knew what to do and taught me how to fish. But we're throwing stuff out there, and we'd catch fish after fish after fish.
Nice.
Oh, sorry. And on this little setup. And that's how I started fishing. And then I think I got out of middle school, and I was like, I don't want to fish anymore. I'm doing some other stuff.
Yep. I'm too cool.
Running around doing high school stuff,
Yeah. That's super common story, man. It happens to a lot of us.
And after high school, I just slowed down. I got a real job. I you know, I started dating my current fiance, and I met this guy at work, and his name is Skylar. And the first day that we were friends, I backed into his car. I hit him. I don't know what happened, but I did. And he had this, I can't remember. I think it was a BMW, but he had like a big metal front piece on it. And it didn't do anything to that car, but it like beat up my my bumper.
Oh, geez.
And that's what I say. It's like the origin story of our friendship. It's like I hit him or I backed into him.
Yep.
And, we became friends after that. And, a few years later or a year later, it was, I remember like Father's Day, and his father-in-law took him fishing because his father-in-law, that man's a beast at fishing. He catches anything that moves in there. He took him fishing, and Skylar has this problem where any little thing that he gets into, he goes full on into it. Yeah,
he just dials right in, hyper focused.
Yeah, and it's and he wants to learn everything about it, learn every little detail. And he started fishing and invited me to go fishing. I was like, oh shit. Oh, sorry, can we cuss? Sorry.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Say whatever the fuck you want.
He said, let's go fishing. And I was like, oh, okay, I've fished before, I'm not a pro or anything, but I fished. And we went fishing to a creek, and this is like Elkhorn Creek. But the friends that were I met these guys through Skylar.
Yep.
But they all fished. So it was like 4 people fishing, and like I was like, I need to learn how to do all this stuff because it's been a while.
Yeah.
And they taught me how to Texas rig and taught me about Senkos. And that same day I caught like a 2-pounder, and I was like super excited.
Sure.
It's like, that's where it started.
That's badass.
And, and at first I didn't want to go fishing without my friends because I was like, man, I don't know if I really like fishing. I'm not as excited as you guys to go fishing.
Yeah.
But if you guys are going, I'm 100% going because I just wanted to be with my friends.
Sure.
And do stuff with my friends.
Yeah, it's like that sometimes. But what was the turning point?
Man, I think I went fishing by myself one day, and I was just like, I was a little depressed, and I wasn't feeling really well, and that's when I started catching fish and having fun, and I was by myself, and I was actually was the first time that I waded down this creek.
Yep.
And I was just sitting there catching fish after a smallmouth. It was my first time catching a smallmouth.
Oh, wow.
And I was super excited about it.
Yeah, dude, that'll do it. Like, that sounds amazing.
And I was sitting there in like this, in the middle of the creek.
Yep.
It's shallow, but there's these little islands. Where like the ground is a little higher.
Yep.
And on the sides, it's like this creek running, and it's going pretty quick. I remember sitting there by myself, and I just fell in love with it. It was just the creek fishing, the smallmouth, and just having a little bit of peace.
Yeah,
was just a combination.
Well, and that
like really triggered fishing for me.
The confidence too, like of you're out there on your own. And your first time wading, like literally think about how like much of a statement that makes. You're stepping into the creek for the first time. Like that level of confidence is crazy.
The worst part is that I'm not a really good swimmer.
I was going to ask, man. That is. I would say it's like a Neil Armstrong moment. One small step for man, one giant leap for fishing kind. But at the same time, that is some risky shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It totally is. I'm sure you know
like,
most of it now, but
most of it was about like up to maybe my belly button, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't, there's spots where I like touched and I was like, oh, it's deep. So I'd just try to go around it.
That's all you can do. Like it's,
and I remember like times where I would crawl at the bank.
Yeah.
Because I was scared.
Oh yeah, dude.
I was like grabbing onto vines and like roots and stuff.
Current is sketchy, you know, and like you gotta, it's the first thing I thought. I was like, oh man, this is so fucking dangerous. I'm glad like you realize it, but also like for the listener too, like if there's somebody listening and they're just like, holy shit, this podcast is amazing, I'm gonna go wade a creek by myself.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Do not do that.
It'd be a good idea to go with your friends.
Go with some friends. Sure. Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Especially, that was the first time that I've ever waded. That was the first time I've ever waded or like been in that area of water. And I was like, you know, it don't even look that deep. And there were sections and spots where I was like, oh, you know, it is deep.
And I mean, not that this is a great way to go about it, but think about like the knowledge that you picked up of like, oh, wow, this is deeper than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
So like knowing that, now when you consider a body of water that you're like, yeah, that hole might be quite a bit deeper and might hold something, you know, much, much larger. So that's why. And first time catching smallmouth, like, my God, like what was your take on that feeling?
It was amazing. I think
it's like cocaine for the first time. I swear to God, man.
I hooked into it and it started running, and it was like, it wasn't big. It wasn't like, you know, a giant smallmouth, but it was tugging harder. And I was like, what is going on? What is that? And it was on a black and blue yum dinger.
Oh, of course.
and you know, it was like half of its length, and it was just like, you know, it looked way too big for him to eat it, but he did. And that's them. That's, if it looks like it could be killed, they're gonna do it.
Yeah, and 100%.
And I forgot what I was going to say. Sorry.
No, we were talking about smallmouth, and you were talking about how it hit on that yum dinger.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
No worries.
I became like a, you know, only Senko guy. Like, you don't need anything else, dude. That's all you need. Senkos. And that's what I would carry. I'd carry like a bag of like Senkos, hooks, and that's all. Like, I was religious about it. I was like, you don't need all these baits. I don't know why people are buying all these baits. Which, now that I think about it, I'd smack myself in the head. But
well, it's weird because I feel like there's a lot of people that are like that. They're like, oh, this works for me, I'm going to use this all the time, you know? And like for some people, it's like you mentioned lizards before. I've heard from a lot of folks. We actually have a friend of the show that's known as the Lizard King, because like he just does stuff with lizards that, I don't know, it's crazy. And yet at the same time, there are people who are like, I've never caught a fish on a lizard ever. So you get in this, especially when you're getting back into it, you get, that's a confidence bait. You hold on to that so tight, you know, whatever it might be. Where was it with you where like the jumping off point went? Because if we look at you present day, you know, like you said, you'd smack yourself in the head. Like, you're a gear guy.
Yeah.
A lot of us are. Welcome to the club. I mean, it's, you know, you're welcome here for sure.
I think the first time, man, when was that? I have both of my pages opened up so I can, you know, reminisce, I guess.
No, that's awesome. And documenting this stuff is huge. I envy, I think a lot of us do, envy those that have the foresight to be like, this is important, I need to document this, you know, and often enough to get a kind of a full story.
Yeah, and when I first started, I remember when the first day that we went fishing, I was like, we should start an Instagram page. And we laughed about it. Everybody laughed about it. And it's like, yeah, that's dumb. Why would I even open a fishing page? But then I was like, you know what? I'll open it up and see what happens. And I opened mine up, and my friend also opened his up. And you know, the first bass I caught after high school is on there at the very beginning. And I'm like,
oh, really?
Big thank you to my friend Skylar for taking me out and bringing me back into fishing. And like, I wish I would have mentioned more of my other friends that were there, and it's the ones that helped me pull that bass out of there, because I was freaking out.
It's nuts, because it's like you're so caught up. You can easily forget this stuff. I am on your page right now, and I'm scrolling down. I want to see this picture. So go ahead, keep going. And
I eventually, when I first started, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna really post my face on it. I don't really, I don't feel confident enough to be showing my face.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yeah, that's fine. And I told them, hey, can you cut it out a little bit? And I used to do these white background, so all my pictures would fit in this, because they used to be squares.
Oh yeah.
On
yep.
Squares only on Instagram. So I wanted them to be horizontal and vertical, but still keep that square and not cut out the picture. And that's what I did for a lot of it. And the guys would bully me about it. Like, why are you doing that?
Yeah. What is
just aesthetic looking? And I was always wanted stuff to look aesthetically pleasing.
No, I agree. And you and I had a phone call earlier, like a week ago, and we talked about some of that. Like I mentioned that in the intro, your Instagram is built different. Like I am a quasi appreciator of contemporary modern pop culture art. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And there is something about the pictures of the baits. The pictures of baits themselves are amazing. The picture of the fish, Carlos. The pictures of the fish. It's like everyone has a picture perfect pattern. The detail is unbelievable, but it's not harsh. You know what I mean? And it's got a very you see one of your posts scrolling through your main feed, and you know what that is. Like I can look at one of your posts that'll show up on my feed, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know what that is. Versus some of the other stuff that gets it's really unique, and that was a major reason why I was drawn to have this conversation with you, because I think people write off Instagram a little too much.
Yeah.
As everybody's like, oh, you're doing TikTok. That's the big one. Are you on TikTok? How many TikTok followers? Or it's long form stuff like YouTube. But there's this place with Instagram, and I kind of blame Instagram a lot for trying to take whatever element they like from another platform and cramming it into this thing. So it's a lot to digest. But when you look at accounts like yours, you can really see people that are making that shit work, dude.
Oh yeah. Which I should be dabbling in other, I shouldn't make Instagram my only thing. I've been thinking about YouTube, but also I didn't like talking online, and now I am. So maybe that opens up a little bit.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, maybe we're getting you a little bit more comfortable.
And TikTok, my friends are like, why don't you not you post reels? You need to open up TikTok, but I don't believe in TikTok.
Yeah.
There's just, my thing is there's too many dumb people on TikTok that shouldn't be famous, but are.
Oh yeah.
And it's oh dude, I don't know. I don't really want to support something like that.
I just, I can definitely see your point. With TikTok, there's something about it I feel isn't really genuine. I feel like it's much harder to make a good connection with somebody's content even. I don't know why. It just feels like everything's disposable on TikTok. I don't know.
It's because it's what's it called? Fast media.
Yep.
It's a 10-second clip. And I've run into that where it's if I post long videos, or long reels, even if it's 20 seconds, then they don't do as good if I just posted a 10-second, 15-second video.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's I feel like people see the first, it shows you on your insight or whatever on there. It's they watched the first 6 to 10 seconds. And then they're okay.
And they just, that's exactly it. You're son of a bitch. It's It's analytics will crush you, dude. I try. I need to do better about not trying to stay in touch with my own. But like, yeah, like, dude, I did a 40-minute video on YouTube when I went to St. Clair. That trip was amazing. It was unbelievable. People get like 10 minutes in and I'm like, I'm stressing about it. I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, do I just have to edit this down to like, just like a 5-minute clip? Like, is that what I need to do? And then I'm like, no, I'm going to do this the way I want to do it. You know, I'm just so that's why, like, I decided to do this multi-species tournament, week as a series of different videos to kind of break it up a little bit. But I'm like, I'm not willing to make that change. But
and I think a way to like make sure they stay till the later minutes, you know, is
an anchor,
is to put the good stuff at the end.
Something like that. Or like, you know, I used to see this in like old school YouTube where people would just be like, hey, we're doing a giveaway. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video because we got blah, 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 blah. And it's like, that definitely makes sense. I just don't know that the audience, the consumer of that content, I think is a lot more educated now, a lot more sophisticated than they were like a decade ago, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because that's what I've been doing with my reels.
Oh yeah, man.
I will like put the good stuff at the very end and hope that works a little bit.
It draws them in.
You know, it's like you put so much effort into this stuff, and it's, you know, I pride on editing and like.
Yeah.
I even like try to match like the music and stuff to the video, and like it takes me a little while, but I get it done. And at the end of this is what I like. For all my content, I want to be rewatching or looking right back at that picture over and over, because if I just post a single reel and I've watched it like 10 times, I'm like, oh, this is good. And if people don't like it, that's fine. But I liked it a lot.
You'll watch it back, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a question that I've always considered asking anybody who makes any kind of content at all. Do you go back and like sort of watch the stuff that you've done, and either like, I mean, I do this where I'll look at it critically and take it apart and go like, I could do this better. I could do this better. I could do this better. And I'll take little elements like that. Or sometimes I go back just for the sheer nostalgia. Like I'll go and I'll look at like, you know, like back in the day, you're much younger than I am, dude. There was a time where like families would gather and go through photo albums together. You know what I mean? And it was like, I remember like, and that's kind of it. Like I'll go back and look at these trips and I'm like, that was amazing, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not, and I'm like, I kind of think I'm a little crazy for that. I'm like going back and seeing my own stuff, but I do like, what's your relationship there? Like, do you go back at all? And what's your reason for it?
I love watching my reels, and I love the music that I play, that I put on it. So I don't judge my videos once they're posted. I'll judge them as I'm editing them, and I'll be tough on them.
Yep.
And when they're posted, that's my masterpiece. That's what it looks like, and I'm not going to judge it anymore.
You accept it and you move forward with it. Yeah.
And I watch it.
Yep.
And in the back of my head, I'm like, you got to do better next time. And this and that. Or it's like, and they look super difficult and like super intricate, but they're simple, you know?
Yeah.
They're just like, there's like little simple things that make a video.
The other thing that one of the things I've found that holds true to like recording anything is the cleaner and the better quality you can get the raw materials, the less work you're going to have to do later on. So if you know that you need these shots to establish and you can just make it a common practice to get them along the way, like have a mental checklist, which I'm going to be honest with you, I'm saying this shit, I do not do it. I'm the worst, dude.
I make sure I have like a kind of like B-roll shots, but not really. Yeah, kind of like just to have a little more extra to the video and not just post fishing, like just the fish. You know what I mean? I want a little bit of like nature. I want a little bit of that. And
exactly. And so you want some sort of an aesthetic to it, you know?
Yeah.
Like something. Yeah. No, I get that, man. I totally get that. It's so funny because like my co-host Joe, he also does YouTube. And we talk about this all the time. I'm like, I do love the fact that I can see the two of us, our content like changing as we learn more because we both use the same platform to edit too.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know, I love the fact that we're able to do so much. Like these tools are so powerful. And like, I know there are people who talk about like, and content means so much to like so many different people in different ways that like they could be having this amazing, you know, journey, create like really crafting something and putting like their effort, blood, sweat, and tears into it. Or it could just be as simple as snapping a pic and putting a caption, you know?
Yeah.
That's the thing. And that's why I think content creation relates to everybody, because if you've ever caught a fish and you were like, this marks a special moment in my journey, a photograph is standard.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it just is. That's fucking wild, dude.
Yeah. And I think you have to have two different sides. Like you have to have, I want to make content, and there's also like, I want to just post on Instagram. Because if there's two different ones, then you got to be, you know, nicer or rougher to yourself.
Yep.
Like if you're just going fishing, you like taking pictures of your fish, posting them on Instagram, you know, don't look at the likes, don't look at
don't pay attention.
Or maybe the comments, but like, don't stress out about all that stuff. Like your followers, who cares? If you're making content, you know,
I agree.
Try your best.
Yeah.
You know,
it's all,
you know,
it
keep
is.
an eye on everything.
You set the goals for yourself, you know, and certain things are going to,
for sure.
you know, insights are going to mean one thing to one group, and then the other folks they're never ever going to think about it. And that's awesome for them, you know?
Yeah. And like, I've had people that be like, how do you grow your following and like this and that? I was like, let me see your Instagram. So I'll look at it and I'm like, so are you wanting to like do fishing content, or is this like your personal where you have like your family and then you have fishing and then you have your dogs and
it's a little everything. Yeah.
And it's like, this is your turf, your home turf, bro. Like you don't need to worry about followers and stuff. You're posting what you like. You're loving what you post.
Yep.
Don't worry about that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really good point.
And it's like, if you want, a big thing is like, how do you get sponsors and how do you get free baits and stuff? And it's a journey for sure.
Yeah.
It's like your Instagram has to switch to like fishing.
Yeah.
Like only. If you want a company to sponsor you, it's gotta be a main fishing page.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to like delete all your stuff and then just turn it into fishing, up to you. But like, you know,
it would be easier to just start over, start a new account.
It's for sure. And it's like, let's say you want, I don't know, Magnum Baits to sponsor you.
Yep.
Just because we both know them.
We do. Yeah. Dan.
And your page has, you know, yesterday you posted pictures of your dogs going to the vet, and then the next day you post fishing, and then the next day you post, you know, this or that. And it's like, you're not really focusing on fishing. So
exactly. You
do
can't
you really
forget, you put that picture of that burger that you had the next day, you know, because got to. I'm guilty. I do it all the time on my personal account.
Yeah. It's like, you have to have, you know, if you want this to be like a job or something, you want to separate.
Yeah.
And it's okay to have like, I don't know. I guess once you get bigger, it doesn't matter what you post.
It's a little bit, you do.
Yeah, it's like,
eventually there's like this momentum that builds, and like it's a little bit less critical, because at that point people see the big audience and it can be perceived as, oh, they're so
Yeah.
relatable. They eat burgers too. You know what I mean?
And it's like, if you have a personality I say that because mine is just, I don't have a picture of myself.
Yep.
All I post is fishing.
Yeah.
But like, there's personalities out there that can do both, I guess. And it's like all of it is just, it's me. You're coming to see me, not what I post.
Yep.
It's like, oh yeah, it makes sense.
That's
like I don't know who I follow that posts extra stuff other than fishing. Most pages post, if they're fishing pages, they're gonna post just fishing. You know what I mean?
They keep it in a compartment where it makes sense. You know.
But if it's like, let's say the homeless fisherman posted, you know, him driving around town and then getting pizza or something.
Yep.
Nobody would mind because everybody's there for him because he's, you know, he's the personality.
He's really the whole brand. You know, he is. And that's what it is.
If I posted, hey, look at this cheeseburger I bought yesterday, and then everyone's like, oh, okay, but it's like, why is he posting that here?
you know what it is? They'd be like,
hey, what kind of lure is that?
Yeah, honestly, I remember. That's funny. This April 1st, I posted. I deleted it, but I posted a showcase of the McChicken burger lure, and it was just. And it was just me editing like a McChicken on a small crankbait, and it looked like it had treble hooks and stuff. And it just reminded me of that. And everybody was in the comments like, "Oh, I need to get that. Oh, we need to get a collab." I was like, "No."
That's amazing, man. That's insane. Let's dive into talking about baits here because, like we said earlier, like you had. You know, you're a gear guy. You got into this. Let's talk a little bit about the Weird Bait Club because I think that the concept is very interesting.
Yeah. Well, the Weird Bait Club started on my personal page or my other fishing page, the official. And official is just, it sounds like official. And I used to go I used to play Call of Duty a lot.
Yep.
And my thing was official Carlos, but the A was like a V. And everybody would call me official Varlos. And I was like, please don't. And then people were like, can we just call you official? So it ended up just being official.
Gotcha.
And then I ran with that. And I was so used to people like was calling me official on Call of Duty and stuff.
Yep.
And that's when I opened up my fishing page, it sounded there was a fish in there. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's official. And people thought it was because I was from Alabama.
Oh, really?
Like a fish from Alabama or
Alabama because of the AL at the end. Okay.
And I was like, no, I'm from Kentucky, actually.
That's awesome.
It's like, you know, you don't really hear a lot of like Kentucky anglers or like doing stuff, or I don't hear a lot of them. I know a few, and I make sure to make friends with them because there's not a lot of us.
Yeah, you got to stick together.
And you know, you hear about Kentucky Lake a lot.
Yep.
You hear about, you know, the world record from Kentucky, which I said something about, is the world record not from Kentucky, the smallmouth?
Smallmouth? I don't think I've ever looked that up. Keep going. I'll look it up.
But I said that once just to a guy. And like, yeah, I guess so. And I think it was like on like Kentucky, Tennessee line, I think.
I think it's the lake. It looks like it was Dale Hollow.
Dale Hollow.
Yeah, and it was Dale Hollow Lake in Tennessee.
So that's why he was a little upset about it.
Hold on a second. What is this? There's a video from a YouTube channel called Kentucky Afield.
I think I've heard of it.
Well, that's a giant smallie. That's a giant smallie. Damn. Well, go ahead. Keep going.
I forgot what I was talking about. I'm sorry.
You were talking about, you were like, a lot of people thought that it was Alabama or your page tying to Alabama when you're actually from Kentucky.
Yeah. So people thought that I was from Alabama. So I started putting Kentucky fishermen or Kentucky fishing. Yeah. Kentucky fishermen on my fishing page. So people knew that I was from Kentucky. But
it's a good idea, actually.
I started that page, and then I started posting like these unique lures that I found, and most of them were from a bait shop here in where I live now in Georgetown. And you go to this, it's a double wide no, it's just a regular trailer, like like a home trailer.
Yep.
And you walk in, and it's a bait shop, but it's like, this older man runs it, and it's a small little thing. They have like buckets or like tanks of minnows and like stuff that you can buy live bait, and it smells a little weird, and
I'm sure
it's a little dark, but it's like the best tackle shop to go to if you just want to find like old time baits or like weird looking things that that you can fish with. And I remember buying a few stuff, and I was like, oh, this stuff is so cool. Like, and around that time I started getting into looking up YouTube creators for fishing, and I found Marlin Baits.
Yeah.
And Marlin Baits, like him and a few other creators, like opened up the idea that, bass will bite anything as long as it has the right action.
Yeah.
And it's like, when I first saw him throw a block of wood with treble hooks on top of the water and bass blowing up on it, I was like, they really can just eat whatever.
Oh yeah. It's true.
And I was like, I want to fish cool stuff like that, but I'm not gonna make baits. I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how to do that.
Whole endeavor. Yeah, no, I get it.
So when I walked into this tackle shop, I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, he has a bunch of weird stuff, and I started collecting them, and also J-Max is a fisherman on Instagram. He's on YouTube too, but he was fishing like these weird baits that he was finding online, and it was just the craziest things that you wouldn't think a bass would eat. And but his videos were actually them catching stuff on them.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? That's nuts. You can do this.
Oh,
you know what I mean? And I remember the first weird bait, what I considered weird, was on my first topwater bite was on a Chapo from Berkeley.
Yep.
And the first fish that I caught on a Chapo Berkeley, which was my first topwater bite, was a 3-pounder.
Yep.
And I spiraled.
Yeah. Oh
that.
Yeah.
I also bought what's it called? Strike King's Hybrid Hunter.
Okay.
That was because of Tyler.
Yep.
Because I was new to fishing.
Sure.
I wasn't really sure what to throw on what month and this, and I asked my friends, and they teach me a few things and stuff. And I wanted more information, and he was like, "Oh, you guys need to buy." This is like, he didn't even say buy or something, but I wanted it. It was the Hybrid Hunter Junior. Yep. And he was like, "You can catch fish on this." And I bought it. The first one that I bought, I threw it in the water, and I got it snagged immediately.
I've done that.
It was like
myself.
Second cast.
Oh, that's the worst, man.
And I was mad. I was like, this thing was expensive. To me, it was expensive at that point. It was like, I think it was like $7.99 or something like that. And I was like, man, I don't know.
You're like, there goes.
I bought another one. Yep, I bought another one, and I started catching fish like crazy on it.
Yeah.
And then I took it to the creek, and I snagged a bunch of them. But I still kept buying them,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just catching fish after fish, and I've caught a few 3-pounders on it.
That's awesome.
And I was
nice.
like, this is awesome. Let's see what else is out there.
Yeah.
And after the Chapo I have a story with the Chapo. I kept breaking them. I'm breaking the flap in the back.
Breaking them? How? Like casting them up against stuff?
I had this thing where when I did like a back cast,
Yep.
I'd hit something in the back, and I kept smacking rocks and stuff. I don't know how I was doing it. I hit stumps and rocks.
Were you waiting or?
No, I was off the bank.
Oh, all right.
I don't know how I managed to do that. I was like, I don't know how,
Yeah.
but I kept destroying them, and I was like on my 5th one in like a month.
Damn.
And my friends were like, dude, these things are going to be expensive when you go back to Walmart.
Yeah.
They're like, a lot of people are buying them, and it's just you keep breaking them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was like I was singly buying all the
and like top
the
waters are often considered like the most durable lures. You know what I mean? Because like,
I have a picture.
You're gonna, I broke this one off. It floats. If you can get to it, you can get it.
Yeah, I was breaking the fins in the back.
Yeah.
So even if I threw them back,
it was gonna take.
They wouldn't plop or even stay on the water. Very
It probably
well.
didn't spin at all. Yeah. Wow.
No.
You got a walking bait now.
Yeah, and it said I have a post where it says "Rip to my 3rd Berkeley Chapo 90."
Damn.
I bought 4 in 1 month. I needed to keep them away from rocks.
That's rough, man.
They said that they did turn into some cool swim walking baits.
That's
I
awesome.
think I'm going to need a discount, Berkeley. And I that day I bought one and I broke another one
Oh my
on a
God.
rock wall. And it's just
That's
rough.
brutal. That is brutal.
And when I started buying a bunch of baits, I started buying mystery tackle boxes at Walmart.
Yep.
And I was just buying them, and just looking at all these baits that were in there, learning how to rig them.
Yep.
And stuff. And eventually I started writing numbers down because they come with a number on it. It's like, this is box number. So I started writing all the numbers down because I was buying way too many.
Yeah.
And
you don't want to have
I need to keep up. Yeah.
You don't want to be duplicates.
Yeah, I knew I wanted a bunch of baits, so I wanted to keep up with them. And there was definitely some gold found out of there, but a lot of it was just like it was not. After a while, it's like, oh, this is like the 5th spinnerbait or the 5th crankbait of the same color, and it was like, I need to do something different.
Yep.
So I started going to like different shops and stuff, and like buying like the weird stuff that were on the shelves.
Yep.
And when you go to Cabela's or Sportsman or there and stuff like that, there's not really a lot. But when I went to Walmart, I noticed that there was a Uziri crawl crayfish. It's like the SS something. But but it's like a crank, almost like a crank. It's like shaped as a crawl, but it has like the flap in the back. The tail cranks.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
And it's a hard plastic crawl. And that was like the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And I was like, I want to catch a fish on it.
Oh yeah.
So I bought them, and I've bought quite a few because I'd snag them, so the claws will melt on you if you leave them in the car. Okay. Or like warm places, the claws will melt.
Dude,
and it's
definitely.
It's on the box. It says, do not leave them there. But
in a hot environment. Yeah, dude. Everybody's been there. Yeah.
But I remember the winter came and what's it called? I took it out, and I had this idea in my head that I've learned from people, I guess, through knowledge and stuff, that bass would sit at the bottom during the winter.
Yep.
And I wanted something that would sit at the bottom, and like I was thinking that bass would target crawls more at the bottom.
Yeah.
During the winter.
Yep.
Than any other time.
Now,
so I threw this crawl down there.
I think your winter and my winter are a little bit different. Your lakes don't freeze, right?
No.
Yeah. All right.
It gets really, really cold.
Yeah.
But not cold enough to where they freeze.
Yeah.
So there's no ice fishing.
Yep.
At any point.
Gotcha.
In Kentucky, which is horrible because if it was miserably cold, I would rather be able to ice fish and have like a cool. Like I've never experienced that, and I want to. But also being on a lake that's frozen is kind of scary to me.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Not my favorite thing, you know?
But I see people like sit there and like catch a bunch of fish. And it's like a compact video. So I'm guessing it's like, once in an hour you catch a fish. But
it can be a grind, man. Like you gotta, it really helps to have a lot of experience in that body of water, previously and know like kind of what the structure's like and where about to set up. And that has a lot to do with it. But yeah, it's crazy. So your winter there, your lakes are probably getting, fairly cold, but not freezing.
And they've frozen up a little bit before, but like there's always signs like, hey, do not step. It looks frozen. Don't step on it. You're going to fall through.
Yep.
Like maybe you can, I don't know. It's just don't do it.
Yeah.
But it was super cold. And this was like, I think it was like a day before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm casting this thing into the middle of the creek.
Yep.
And I'm letting it fall down all the way. And then popping it and letting it come down, popping it. And then something grabbed it. And I set the hook on it. Mm-hmm. And it just started dragging me around. I was like, whoa. It's like, it's a big fish. It's a big fish. And I'm it's like it's a little cliffed, it's not super tall, but it's still like whenever I caught this fish, I had to like crank it up over.
Yep.
And it was scary because it was a really big fish and I've never seen a really big fish like that.
Yeah.
I was freaking out, but I got it. And the moment I set it down on the grass, it popped the hook and I grabbed it real quick.
Yep.
I was like, this is personal best 100%.
Yeah.
And I weighed it and it's like 315 or like it was like trying to get to that 4 pounds.
Yep. Yeah.
And it wouldn't. It was just like one off and it like flickered into 4 and I was like, come on, dude. Like you could add a little bit of water into that.
Yeah. Give me that 4.
I was like, if you wet it, it might weigh 4. And it didn't, but everybody tells me to call it a 4-pounder, but that's my personal best. It's not big, but
still, man, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, what is a personal best? Like, you have that experience and everything. If you're a person who takes, who takes a lot of pictures and stuff, you've got pictures, maybe video of it, something like that. But at the end of the day, it's like you got to track the numbers. Yeah. Because if you do click that 4-pound mark, now that's a new personal best. Yeah.
And I think the problem with me is that I keep trying to like, oh, this year I will go out and catch my personal best. I'll hit over 5 easy. Yeah. And then last year, that's what I said to myself, and I was like, I'm going to catch this and that. Mm-hmm. And then we found this place that we waited, and it's a beautiful place, man. It's just the best waiting spot I've ever been on.
Yep.
And it's like, it's in the middle of the city. You go down this like little bank, and it's like the Japanese garden is right there.
Yep.
And it's like it looks a little weird, but you're waiting down this and you're going over this bridge and there's construction on one side.
Yeah.
And you keep waiting and waiting, and eventually you go in, and the water's a little dark, it's a little murky.
Yep.
Eventually you go past this like broken bridge, and you wade down a little bit further, and the water just starts getting clear and clear.
Yeah.
To the point where it's like up to your a little bit past your ankles, or
Okay.
it's like up to your hips, but the
Gotcha.
water is just crystal clear, and you're seeing fish sitting in like areas and rocks and stuff, and it's just smallmouth. That's all there is there. Smallmouth and a few rock bass, and you catch bass nonstop.
Really?
I remember one time me and two other friends went, and I think we caught like over 100 plus smallmouth.
Really?
On like a 4 mile wade. It was a 2 mile wade there, and then a 2 mile wade back. But they're not huge. But when you're fishing ultralight, with small lures, it was a blast.
Oh, it's an absolute blast, and
you
really appreciate the fight that they have on Lake Gear.
Oh yeah, and it's like we just started doing that and just going down the same. Like, hey, you guys want to go and explore further down, and we did that all summer.
Damn, that's awesome, dude.
And it's like we never saw anything that was huge.
Yeah,
but it was just the numbers was insane, and just being out there, because once you get past that into the clear water, you're in nature, and like both sides, they're like farmlands on both sides, and like a cliff, and like you can't hear the cars, you can't hear anything other than the birds.
Yeah, just the solitude of being out there is amazing.
Yeah, and I've waited back there by myself a few times and just sit, and I'll sit in one spot and cast out and catch smallmouth just for a little bit and just hang out. It's insane. It's an experience that I'm trying to get more of my friends to experience. Yeah, just that peacefulness of it.
I think that's awesome, man. That's freaking fan. That's at the core of it all. Like, that's what it's all about. That's what all of this is all about. It's crazy. Unbelievable. Let's talk a little bit about like your confidence baits. I know like we had mentioned that like you started out with like just specific plastics, like you were into throwing a Senko, that's all you needed. What have you kind of grown to? Like what is today's Carlos throwing?
Oh man.
Like when you got to get it done, are you like more of like you're like, yeah, I'm going to throw Ned, or I'm going to do this, or like what style?
It's been a while even since I've like just gone out to fish.
Oh, I see.
Just myself, but I'll have days where I'm like, I want to go fish a jerkbait, and I will slam them. And the first time I ever bought a jerkbait, I caught like 15 fish on it in like a few hours.
Wow. All right.
And I was like, whoa, you can fish like that? And I was fishing a Strike King. It's like Pro Bone at the creek. Yeah. And it was just catching smallmouth after smallmouth after smallmouth. And this is like fall kind of weather.
Yep. Yep.
So, it was the perfect time for a jerkbait.
Uh-huh.
And I just started catching them like crazy. The next day, did the same thing. I took it a day after that. I took it to a different spot, and it stopped working. And I was like, what?
But and that's the thing. Sometimes the fish, they just don't want that presentation. They need looking for something either less or more subtle.
Yeah, but a week later, I went, and it was starting to get cold. So I was like kind of trying to get the last few wades in. And I caught a bunch of, I was using an ultralight rod with I think it was like a inline spinner.
Oh, okay.
And I caught a bunch of these weird bait fish, and they're called striped shiners.
Okay.
And it gave me an idea to get a jerkbait with that color out there.
Dude, match the hatch. Absolutely. Yeah.
And I was like, this jerkbait is like the perfect size, perfect color.
Yep.
I need to get this. And it was at Walmart. I was like, I need to grab that, because I was at Walmart just seeing what's out there. And I brought it. The next day I caught like 20 something fish on it. And I was like, oh, this is it. That's how you just got to find that bait fish that works, or that jerk bait that works in this part of the creek.
Mm-hmm.
The next day, did the same thing. I was like, this is perfect. And I think the best day was whenever I switched to, and I might be the jerk bait, it might not. But I started working with Arc, and I was like, I need to get some jerk baits from them.
Yep.
And I had the jerk bait that I got was also that it's like a purple top, a little bit of yellow stripe, and white belly.
Okay.
So it kind of just matched that shiner.
Yep.
And I caught the most fish I've ever caught. It was like 37 fish in like 3 hours.
Yep.
And it was at even 3 hours. And I remember posting it because it was like recent. And I was like, man, like this is insane how many fish you can catch on jerkbait. And it was just like back to back. Like I was unhooking them, throwing them back. Half of them I didn't even take pictures of.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like at that point
There's
it was
so
like
many.
It was like, these are all like around 1 or 2 pounds. It's fine. I'll throw them back.
Yeah.
And I would like throw it, crank it a little bit, and I'd jerk 1, 2, and boom, it'd hook. And I'd reel back in, and I'd unhook them, throw them back, and then I'd jerk once, and boom, and it was just constantly. And there's this guy behind me in this truck. I guess he wanted to like fish, but he just kept seeing me catch fish, and I was being loud. I'm sorry. I was super excited. It was just like insane. Course. It was like I matched the hatch, the size, everything.
Yeah,
everything that was perfect. I matched it.
The recipe was right that day.
Dude, it was just,
and the timing. The bite was on. Like all the elements came together.
It was like a farm pond kind of deal. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was like, but it was like in one of the most pressured creeks that is in Georgetown. So it was like constant.
That's awesome, man. That's unbelievable.
I think even during the winter, a jerk bait would be a confident bait. Crawls, big fan of crawls. All kinds of crawls. It's just like, and then the most confident baits that I have, and that's because I throw them on Ned rigs. But and like other, there's a few other ways, but are the fish or die baits.
Oh, really? Okay. Like which one specifically? Joe is a big fish or die guy. He's part of the pro staff and all that. He just did a tournament with Taylor from Fish or Die down at Westport Lake.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that. But he's an awesome guy.
He's awesome.
I love that man.
I love all the Fish or Die stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And he just the baits, man, that he makes, they just great. Catch smallmouth like crazy.
Yep.
And that's most of the baits that I used when I was waiting a lot. That's what I used, and it's the Patriot. I used a lot,
dude. Yes,
on a Ned rig.
Yep.
And the one that's not even supposed to go on a Ned rig, but I did it. It's I have a bunch of them just because they work amazing.
Oh,
but it's the leech. It has a crazy weird name.
I'm gonna call up the Fish or Die website. Just take a look at it. Just just because.
I set up these boxes where all my baits go, and now I don't know where I placed everything.
Is it the Gadsden that you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I got the black and blue one, and it was just it. I mean, there was this point where I was using just the head on the Ned, and it was still catching stuff. And it was just that smell that it has too is insane.
Well, I was going to say that's one of the other things that Taylor does is there's a whole line of scents as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. I bought bottles of it.
Yep.
Just because if like sometimes I get baits that don't really have scent or anything.
Sure.
And I just put them in a little bag, drip some of that in there. My favorite smells.
The scent that they use on here, it's mustard gas, garlic and cross.
Yes, that's what I got. Mustard gas. Oh man, it's awesome.
Yeah, they really are. They're awesome. And I mean, that's the thing. Like, dude, you finesse like a soft plastic on some type of a jig head, or you rig it, however, like with a Nico rig or something, like you're going to catch them,
Oh, yeah.
you're going to catch them. Like they will eat that stuff. You just got to be confident with it and stick with it. I love the smaller bait companies, like some of the plastics companies and jig makers and stuff that, we've been introduced through obviously like Dark Horse Tackle, like HH Customs is one I've been really all over about. Like I've been just absolutely killing them with HH Customs, both the guppy swim bait and the finesse koosh ball bladed jig. Unbelievable, dude. Like this whole week has been all BFS for me.
Really?
Yeah. The entire. Except that pike I caught. That I had to throw some conventional stuff.
I recently started getting into bait finesse. I work with Arc Fishing, and they came out with their Arc reel, their BFS reel, and their Arc rods.
Yep. The rods are new, right?
Yeah, they're new. They're brand new. I'm actually getting one today.
Nice.
I just got a message like, hey, it's out for delivery. So I'm excited to try that out. See if, because it's a perfect setup for me to use, because I fish a lot of creeks. I wade a lot. And
absolutely.
It's like the perfect setup. I just need to learn a little bit more about it, because I didn't know much about it, but I love ultralight.
I do. I think you'll love it.
Yeah. I love ultralight, and it's something like that. I'm not going to say they're the same thing, but it's light line.
It definitely is.
Small gear.
Super, super, super efficient and super versatile. Like you can do a lot. Like when I fish on the bank now, the only thing I bring out is like usually 1 or 2 BFS combos. I would
like to do it off the bank, but I'm kind of scared because a lot of my banks are like leveled like a little higher than the water.
Yep.
So like winching them up is like, I'm gonna break that rod. Like I have a maxed lures, their BFS rod that they like. It was like an exclusive drop kind of deal that they came out, and I wanted to support that guy because he got me into the weird baits. Whenever he came out with his lure, the Raptor.
Yep. Oh yeah, dude, that is nasty.
It's awesome. And it was like, I messaged him.
Yep.
Because at that time I wanted to get into painting lures.
Yeah.
Because I've done art all my life, and I've painted, I've drawn, and I painted some for Hans lures, and they came out amazing.
Nice.
And
dude, that's awesome. I didn't realize you did that. That's great.
Yeah, and it was his newest at that time it was his newest bait that was coming out. It was like something you could throw in like a medium to like medium heavy setup. It was a little glide bait.
Yep.
And I painted some stuff for him. I was like, I want to try to paint some stuff. So he was like, yeah, I got you. And he sent me a few things, and I painted some, and I was like, they came out awesome. It's something different than what other people are doing.
Yeah.
Because I wanted my stuff to look like kind of like cartoonish, almost like stuff that you'd see like, I don't know. I didn't want. I was really bad at like drawing like realistic stuff my whole life.
Yeah,
so I was
absolutely.
like, I'm not gonna try to like draw it or like paint a bluegill on it, because I don't know how to do it at the start anyway. So
yeah, and that's just not necessarily like your thing. So you're changing it. You're putting your own stamp on it.
Yeah, and I was like, hey Max, I have an idea. If you want to send me a few, I can make something. And I made what I call the Pixel Bite Raptor, which is like, it looks like a raptor that got put into Pac-Man. And I made it into like this bright yellow, and the idea was that the black would make the bait look smaller because they would focus on the bright yellow.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and it's already small,
yeah.
so it would make it like a smaller, even more bite-sizey glide bait.
Yeah, oh yeah, all right.
And I fish darker water, so it kind of like that black would fade into the water a little bit more.
Yeah,
but I did that for him, and he was like, "Oh my god, these are insane! Like, this is awesome!" And that's when our little like collab stuff started happening. Yep. And it wouldn't be for like everybody else. It'd just be like, "Hey, I have this raptor, make me one and I'll give you one."
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, sweet. And I made him one and I made myself one. And I would scrape the paint off because I was using these paint pens, but they were like kind of like a little bit water resistant, but if a fish beat them up too hard, the paint would fall off. But I was using these paint pens, and I would like scrape the paint off and repaint it again, and like different colors, and see what worked really well and what not. And I made this fire crawl one, or what I thought looked like a fire crawl one, and I was smacking fish left and right with it on this little glide bait, and I made him just the same design. It's like this like pixel looking design on it, and I made him one that was like a bronze and white one, and it looked amazing, and he really loved it. And then he came out with the Raptor V2. And he sent me one again, and I painted one for him and painted one for me, and he wanted like this like bluegill look to him, and it was like this like super cool looking bluegill one. And I did stuff for Lazy Baits. I don't know if you know who Lazy Baits is. Lazy Baits Co. I made his what's it called? Slacker. I made a bunch of those. I made one that looked like a what's it called? Like a crash dummy.
Oh yes, okay.
And then one that looked like a trout, but it was like a cartoon trout. And I did those two. They look amazing.
All right, yeah.
And I also made a Halloween one, which was pretty crazy looking.
I think I've seen that one.
The one it's like a mouth and it's like teeth.
Yep.
Yeah. I made that one for him.
Dude, that's amazing.
And then I just started painting baits. I just was going crazy with it.
Yeah.
And I'd ask people like, "Hey, could you send me a blank, see if I can do that?" And it was like the same deal. Course. I paint one and I paint you one and I send it to you.
Yep.
And I started doing that. And that was really fun.
That's badass.
But now we get to a point where it's like, I don't know if you've seen the North Shore swim baits, those glide baits. I'm working with bigger glide baits, more room to like,
get super like detail oriented.
Yeah. And it's just a weird design, just crazy design. I sent him one and I just wanted to buy another one and do a different design so I could keep that one. It was just so awesome. And I was like, man, like, I hope you really enjoy this one because it was like probably one of my favorite ones that I've made so far.
That's pretty fucking cool, dude.
And the Japanese style one that I made for Sensei swim baits, the crawler. Oh, dude, it was just
that's the stuff that I green and red one, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
the frog.
That's fucking I love a crawler.
Dude, it's just the stuff that I've made in recent, like just content wise, and like just the baits that I've showcased, all that stuff that I've been doing recently, has just been amazing to me. Like it's just been some of my favorite stuff that I've put out.
That's fucking recently. So cool, man. That's unbelievable. Like it really is a crazy journey when you like start out, you know, and then you just progress and you keep going, but you're persistent with like keeping your aesthetic and keeping your, you know, and just growing and learning. Dude, unbelievable. Before we wrap up, there's two questions, all right? And there's two questions in one, really. The cornerstone of Jigs and Bigs is all about sharing stories, and we've talked a couple of times now, and I feel like you've got some stories. So I'm looking for two primarily. I'm looking for the story where, like, if you were, you know, at like an event or something like that, or you know, you bumped into somebody you know, and they're like, oh yeah, I saw your fishing stuff. You know, what is that story you'd lead with? Like maybe the moment like you were most proud of. It might be your PB. It might be, you know, anything like that. Something that you were like, holy cow. But the next story that I'm looking for, and I think that this one's harder to kind of put together or find, is the one with like that was the biggest, like where the shit hit the fan. Like it was just the biggest fail.
Sorry, can you repeat the first question? My bad.
Yeah, no. Just the first story where you would, you know, you were most proud of on the water. You know, it might be a PB. It could be, you know, just a crazy situation. And, you know, you're like, yeah, this is pretty cool. And then, you know, the second one being the fail.
I think I really loved fishing, but the proudest moment that I feel like I've had fishing with the fishing stuff, it's been starting the Weird Bait Club.
Yeah, I could see that.
And it was just like I want to start like a community where like the glide bait and swim bait community, and like now we have the weird bait community, and like we have, you know, different communities that are huge, and that's what I want to grow mine to.
Sure.
And, you know, get people that just want to fish for something different, something, you know, unique. And I just feel like we're going down this I don't know if hopefully it's like died down a little bit, but we're going down this path where like most of the baits that were coming out were for front facing sonar. And like, you know, it's like you're excluding a bunch of people. It's like, hey, if you have a boat, you have electronics, and you have that money, there's a bunch of baits that we just put out for you. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, I wish they'd be like, but you can also use these baits on the bank or like while you're waiting or kayaking without electronics, and here's how.
And, you know, the thing is, a lot of those forward-facing baits, the targets, whatever, like, they're the same freaking baits. Like they're the same. They're the same thing as something else with a feature that will usually assist with being able to be identified on forward-facing sonar. So if anything, like you're talking about, like, oh, we added this material in the hard bait that's easier.
Yeah, that
to
is
be detected.
also that is true.
You know, so it's like it's not like it's just, and that's the thing that bothers me the most about like those bait companies. Is the marketing that goes into it. And we are pretty sophisticated as people, but goddamn, we fall for marketing still. Oh, you know, it happens all the time. Like nobody says you can't use that same plastic for a Damiki rig. Now, is a Damiki rig necessarily something that the bank angler is gonna fish with that often? Maybe not. You know, you never know. People like to make it spicy. You know.
Yeah, that is true. And I have nothing against front facing sonar. Sonar. But you know, it's definitely like a conversation that's been just constant. Yeah. It's like, dude, just it's over, man.
Everybody at the coffee shop is just talking about it. It's like, okay, we get it. You know, you don't like it. You don't have to use it. It's fine.
Yeah, and it's like, use it if you want, but it's like it doesn't really matter. If you're just fishing, just fish. And I commented about it once, and it was a big deal about it. And like, you know, it made me realize that it's like, why am I commenting on something that I haven't used before? Or like, it's annoying because the thing that I hate about this whole thing is that companies are getting away with putting the same bait as other companies, and it's boring. And it's like, you just copy the other company, and the other company copy them, and it's just like the same style of bait is coming out with just a little bit of a different switch to it. Like
just
there's
to
like
make it legal.
yeah. And it's like, if we want to talk about illegal, the bait that just came out from Net Baits that looks like the mooching minnow or something like that.
I heard something about that. Yeah,
it's a little too close. It's like copy my homework, but make it look a little different.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not looking to get in trouble here. Fair enough.
It's like we're going down this path where we're not competing against the companies aren't competing against each other to like get your money. They're kind of like teaming up together and just doing the same thing
together. Yeah. I mean,
now it's like,
and that's the biggest gripe about like that large scale, the industry side of it versus the craft side. And I do think that like to some point, I think that there is a market that is demanding more of a craft provider experience. You know what I mean?
What it feels like? It's like filler baits. Is what
100%.
That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Something's popular right now. Let's pump out these baits that we, drew something up real quick.
Yep.
Put it on a mold. Boom. They're pumping out. And now we're getting but we have a different color of the same bait.
Of the same thing.
Other companies, they don't have it, but we do. And it's like, okay.
Yeah. No, I get it. I worry about companies that do that. Like companies that make stuff that's like, really fantastic. And then they want to get into this market and then they want to add on these and then they want to get on this. And it's like, man, you just hope that it's not at the detriment. Like, I'll be honest with you. Like I'm an ARC fanboy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like ARC is one of those companies that after the reels initially came out, I was like, and I had thrown some ARC baits in the past and they're great. Like I can't, but it just makes you wonder, like, are they spreading themselves too thin or is it like a genuine growth thing? Now I always knew their rods were amazing. That's why
the rods are amazing.
love them. The rods I think are out of this world. But I don't know that like, a perfect example is like you mentioned the gravity bait finesse rods, right? Mm-hmm. Like I just feel because I've used the rods 100%, I'd be like, yes, I'll pick one of those up and give it a shot. But like I was on this situation with the gravity reel. I was like, when I ordered that rod from Pig Jigs, and I'm like, that's a beautiful fucking fishing rod.
I've seen
bullshit.
it. I wouldn't buy it because I'm new to BFS and I just calm down with that. But it looked cool. It looked awesome.
I love it. It is so it's exactly the power and action I was looking for. It's exactly as the exact sort of action I've been looking for a handful of specific baits, and it is awesome. It's also the shortest rod too that I've got.
Oh, and it's like the best part is that it's coming from a guy that does like small lures.
Yep, 100%
BFS stuff.
Yep,
so it's like
love it.
He went out there, tested it, and was like, dude, I like this. Like this is what I want to throw my little micro jigs on and stuff. It's like,
oh yeah.
So now you're confident. That's why I bought the Max Lures rod.
Yep,
because he makes micro glide baits or small glide baits.
Yep.
It's like if he's throwing that and you see him use them in his videos. If he's using that reel a lot for his glide baits, it's like it's
got to be good. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, it makes sense.
And I love it. I mean, the only thing that I'm scared of is these BFS rods feel really flimsy, and it scares me that I'm going to break them. But I've done some crazy things with that BFS rod and hasn't broken on me yet. So I was like, okay. You
gotta watch my which video is it? The St. Clair video.
Yeah.
Like
on YouTube?
The last catch of that day. Like just go right to the end. Like the mics failed. I had to do a voiceover for it. But yeah, I hooked on this was a Ben Key ultralight fast. And it was the basically like the first run with that new Tatula the BF70. So I was stoked to really kind of like put this through the paces, and I'm out there and I put a 4-pounder in the boat. It was unbelievable, man.
You both flipped it?
No, fuck no.
Oh,
I used the net.
I thought that's what you meant. I was like, whoa.
No. I didn't boat flip it.
You're confident. I'm
No.
I'm scared of BFS, man. It's just
I use a net for
that
most of my fish, but yeah, I could understand like the places you're talking about. Like I bring like where you're elevated above the water by like however that can get real sketchy. I totally get that. No, in this video we were in the boat and I just made a long cast out in this one area with a finesse swim bait and just this smallie just smoked it. This is after like the exact opposite had happened, and I hooked into a steelhead on a 1/2 ounce swim jig with like a 6-inch paddle tail on the back of it. I was like, what are you doing? You got to go look at that. It's
I for sure will. I'll add it to the list. But I'm sorry. I keep going on tangents. I feel like I don't get to the point on any of this stuff.
No, you're good. You're good. Man.
For the question, the proudest moment was when I started it, and I started it on. I wrote that down. November is the 6th.
Oh wow!
Of last year.
Oh okay.
And I started the first one that I started was with Fisher Dye's one of his baits. I'm so sorry. He's probably good. If he watches this, he's probably gonna be like, man, he doesn't know any of my baits names. But I know I just forget names, but I buy stacks of them and stuff because I really like them. The Warbird was the first one that I showcased, and I was like, this thing is unique. It goes on perfectly on a chatterbait.
Yep.
And like it's awesome. Yeah. And it's just something different and it has a different body design where it's like bent. So that was like something crazy and new to me. It's like he says it's gonna replace the jerkbait of everybody, but I really like it.
Yeah.
And it's high quality and it smells awesome.
Oh yeah. And
I caught quite a few fish on it. So I was like, this is the bait that I want to start with.
No, that makes sense, man.
The Weird Bait Club was my proudest moment.
Yep.
Other than catching 37 plus fish on a jerkbait in 3 hours. That's the impressive part is 3 hours. I was like, whoa, from the bank,
yeah.
Back
100%.
to back. It was like, that was insane.
Yeah. It's a shitload of fish.
I just started it and people saw the vision and they were like, this is going to be super cool. And I've been teasing it for months on my other page. Sure. I was like, I just don't know how I'm going to start it. I remember I posted the Warbird.
Yep.
Sorry. And I posted it a different way than I do them now. And I was talking to Fisher Dye and I was like, man, I don't know if I like it. Cause the next post was the Q bomb. And that's the official way I wanted to
launch.
Launch him and how the design I wanted to use and the format. And it looks so good. I was like, this is perfect. It looks like a cover of a magazine.
Yeah, it really does.
And it's like, I want that on all of them. And I was sitting there. I was in DMs. I was like, dude, I want to have the Warbird as the first one.
Yeah.
But I feel like it doesn't match the rest of the ways the other post. And I want that same on every single one.
Yeah.
And eventually, after talking back and forth, it was like, you know what? I'm gonna repost it, but I'm gonna make sure that everybody knows that was the first one.
Yeah, exactly. That's cool.
And that was the last for season. I'm sorry. I was like, I want to do them in seasons. I wanted them to feel like a season with 20 baits, 20 showcases. And season 1, it started with the Warbird and ended with the Warbird. Because I ended up posting at the very end.
Oh, I see.
And I was like, this was the first one. Sorry, the format changed. I want it like this. And then the next post was completed season 1. And then I start season 2 a week later. I take like a week off where I can hang out, fish whatever I want.
Yep. There you go.
And and start test like the end of that week. I start testing new baits and start taking pictures.
Yep.
And get ready for the next season. And I'm season 4 now. I'm in season 4.
Oh wow. Okay.
And it's 20 baits. The first season had like 20 something plus baits, but I wanted to cut it down to 20.
Sure.
Because here comes the part where I talk about the fail. Oh,
all right.
Things started getting really expensive.
Oh, dude, hell yeah.
Oh man, like I wrote down last night. I wrote down how much money I spent.
That's dangerous.
On seasons. On season 1. Hear this. I spent a total of $271.
Okay.
And 15 cents. I was able to get some free stuff.
Sure.
Or like discounted stuff.
Yep.
And like the first one that really like was like, I have confidence in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like I see the vision. Let's do it. Was Fish or Die, which
I
already had their baits, so it was kind of like free, but not really, And other was Cave Town Baits, the Dweller. I don't know if you've seen that.
I have seen that. Yeah.
And I remember showcasing that, and I was like, "Look at this crazy thing! You've never seen that before, have you?" And I, ever since then, we're good friends and stuff. And I remember showcasing the Dweller because the Dweller it's a little expensive, but you gotta understand like that bait is gonna last you a while. It's made out of durable material and stuff like that.
Yep.
And it's like a soft, like a swim bait, like a good quality one. But that was like $40, and I was scared to buy it. And he's like, "I got you, don't worry about it." Yeah. And I posted on the Weird Bait Club and on my other one, shouting them out and stuff. And that helped.
Yeah.
And I ended up paying out of my pocket. I paid $181 that season.
Okay.
With the discounts and free stuff.
Yep.
Season 2.
That's actually not terrible.
It's not terrible.
No, it's not.
Season 2 is when I was like, I don't have the money to keep doing that.
Yeah.
Things are really expensive, and I don't think I can keep making these posts because these baits all of them are free.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm struggling a little bit.
Sure,
and I was at that time in life, I'm just like, I'm really not making enough money to be able to pay my bills.
Yeah.
Pay for the Weird Bait Club. And I don't know, man. I think it was a good run.
Yeah.
I probably should not do this anymore unless I can get more people to help me out.
Sure.
And I paid, the total was $366 for 20 baits.
Wow.
And I paid out of pocket was $316.
Okay.
And I was like, dude, like that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money that I could use for other stuff. And
for sure.
Like, if I do $360 every season, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's like stuff like this page doesn't make me money really.
Sure.
It's just kind of like, I want to showcase cool stuff for you to fish.
Yeah.
And it's a passion project, and I really like it. Season 3 came around, and I had a lineup of baits. And I was like, well, I have these baits already that I've collected over the years, so I could start with that.
Yeah.
And then I started messaging people. I was like, hey, I would love to showcase your baits on my page. I know my following isn't that big, but I have a vision. Yeah. The goal was to help small companies, have like decent looking pictures. I'm not going to say that I'm a best photographer or anything.
But to give them something like, and there's also a baseline with your stuff, you know, like if you have any of these baits and you see your photograph, you can then look at any other bait and get an idea of what it would look like in person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, I took pictures of how to rig them, how to, you know, what they look like and like certain angles of it. So you got like the whole 360 view of it.
Oh yeah.
You know, like talked about the baits and like put their description under it. So it's like what they think about the bait. And then it was me kind of like a little commentary.
Yeah.
Like, you know, this is what I think about this bait, blah, blah, blah. And
I'm looking at the beef crawl right now, and it's the perfect description is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, it's like that was like that's what I was doing. And I started messaging companies, and they were like, you know what, this is a really good idea. We'd like to send you shit. And I was like, perfect. And I was able on season 3, I was able to start posting these crazier baits.
Yeah.
More baits. And a lot of them were like collabs with companies, big and small. Like I had collabs with or for season 3. Oh God, where are we at? I had collabs with like really small companies, and then we had medium-sized companies, and I had an Egg Zone send stuff out for me, and I was like, that's so crazy. You know what I mean?
That's awesome, dude. It really is.
And it's like, oh, and that's when Discount Tackle came into the picture. And then after Discount Tackle, I was like, I can do this. It's so much. They lifted a weight off me, not gonna lie.
There you go.
They gave me, you know, a little budget, and they gave me, you know, discounts and stuff for their page. So I was able to integrate that kind of like they're like, I mean, like in the ambassador kind of area. Yeah. But I was able to like integrate them into the Weird Bait Club pretty easily because it's about baits. Yeah. You know, it's like here's a link. If you want to click and buy these baits, you can. But at the end of the day, I was able to showcase what I wanted. Yeah, exactly. And you know, if I didn't think a bait was weird enough or unique enough or whatever, I wasn't going to post it. And, you know, they made it clear that I could run the way I want, and they wouldn't change anything other than, you know, give them a few posts every month. Yeah, exactly. And I was like, this is perfect. Yeah. This is like if I could choose someone else, I wouldn't. I'd still think
I hear
Discount Tackle. You know what I mean?
It's a good relationship, so you want to maintain it.
That's what I like about. Yeah. Like if I have sponsors or like any kind of like discount codes and stuff, I can integrate into my content as clean as I can. Yeah. It's awesome. Without it feeling like a commercial, like, you know forced. What I mean? Yes, exactly, dude. Exactly. And it's like,
and so that's great too. Like, so they don't put any pressure on you of like, hey, could you do something for this?
Oh, no.
It's more of you go through the inventory and say, we're going to feature this. And dude, that right there. Oh,
yes.
That's how you keep it organic. That's great. That's really cool.
And it's like, I fit the reason why I get these like collabs and like kind of, if like ambassadors and stuff, it's kind of like sponsors almost, but it's because I fit like a niche that they don't have. Yeah. You know, I slide into like a perfect spot in their company. Yep. Cause like, the way I told Discount Tackle is like, you have all these other ambassadors that they have a certain way of fishing. Yeah. And you know, it's like the main stuff. 100%. And they're catching fish. They're giving really good promotion. Yeah. To Discount Tackle
for sure.
And then there's me like, hey, they also have these weird looking baits. They have all these unique stuff that, you know, they fall into a spot where not a lot of people see them because this stuff is popular right now. But there's also these other little baits in there that you can buy that are like super unique.
Yeah.
And if we're fishing pressured water, and bass haven't seen this stuff before, so you can buy this stuff and use it, and maybe you catch your next PB.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't. Maybe it's not a bait that worked out for you, but at least you saw it, you thought it was cool, and you got it, and you tried it out.
I'm looking right now at the first post that shows up at the top, the bottom rocker post from Headbanger Lures.
Oh,
and
dude, it's awesome.
Dude, I love that you're featuring essentially what is like terminal tackle. You know what I'm saying? Because it fits the mold. And I think that there's one picture in here right there where you show exactly, you're like, oh, pair it with your favorite soft plastic. And you've got 5 different plastics that all feature here. And they're all very unique from one another.
Oh, yeah.
And that really, And I also love the fact that when you flip over to the next, you've got 2 rigs in your hand, one with that like bellows gill style. Is that what that is?
Yep.
And then one with the Magnum crawl, and you give the information about the hook size and the weights and everything. And it's like,
and the baits are as small as, like, they fit the hook better. You know what I mean? Like the 100%. Magnum is a really big crawl.
It is, dude.
But
I love it.
On a 4-aught, it's still a really nice bait to run.
For sure.
And that combo, the rocker head, or not the rocker head, sorry, that's the other bait that they have.
Yep.
The bottom rocker and the Magnum beef crawl, it looks amazing in the water.
Yeah.
Like, and the best thing is it's kind of like a crankbait type deal where you can crank it and it's like swimming and the crawls are flapping.
And they're free floating, so they just go wherever. Yeah, it's really erratic on the bottom.
Yeah.
You're right.
You could just let it drop at the bottom and bounce like a jig if you want.
Yeah.
And that crawl, it's like super buoyant. So it just, it's floating up, it's shaking around doing his little dance, ready to get bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's really cool. It's a really cool tackle.
That's badass,
terminal
man.
tackle.
I think what you have going is really great, and I could definitely see where that is pretty unbelievable. Carlos, we're gonna wrap up, but before we go, I want you to definitely go ahead and let folks know where they can find you online to check out more of this content we've been talking about, but also any shout outs for any of the companies that you are partnered with or anything like that. Feel free. This is your opportunity to promote yourself a little bit.
Well, you can find me on Instagram. On official, it's of.fish.al. The Weird Bait Club. That's my baby.
Yeah.
If you want to follow that, if you want to follow anything, please follow that. It's Weird Bait Clubs _club. Or wait, sorry, it's Weird Bait _club.
Yep.
And I work with ARC, and you can use official all together to get a 10% off your first order. I work with Discount Cat Tackle. You click the link in my bio and it helps me.
That's good.
And then Fish or Die, same thing, official. They make awesome baits. They're really my my confident bait, if you call it. And if anytime I want to go out and have fun and just fish and not have to review anything or take pictures, I carry one of them, a pack or two, and I throw them out and usually catch fish. My goal is to not be skunked. If I'm going fishing, I'm not getting skunked.
Yeah.
And they helped a lot.
That's fair, man.
Follow the podcast.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Dude, this is really, really fantastic, man. I appreciate it. I was looking forward to this interview, and I think it was really, really good. I think the listeners are going to enjoy it. Do me a favor though. We're going to have to get creative with your, cause normally I do a cover art that's specific to the guest that's in the beef seat.
You want me to do it for you?
If you
I can do it.
If you want to send me actually, you know what? That would be amazing.
I can do it.
The problem is I'll need it by tonight. Because
I can do it by tonight. There's no problem.
Perfect, man. And I was like, because initially I normally ask all the guests, just send me a picture and I'll go ahead and put it together and just basically of them like holding a giant. But I don't want to blow up your spot and have you show up on the cover art holding a fish. So yeah, if you want to design it, that would be amazing. This is the first time ever anybody's ever going to do that. Nice.
I do. I love editing. I love taking pictures. That's my passion. You know what I mean? Like,
I hear you.
Other than
I'm the same
the
way.
weird
I'm a
baits
production
and
nerd.
smallmouth.
Yeah. I fucking love it, dude. I absolutely love it. This has been absolutely awesome, Carlos. I really, really love it. Well, this show is going to drop later tonight, and I'll shoot you over a link to it so you can check it out. I think I think we got a good one.
All right, grab that big one first, will you? Bro, we killed it today.
Goddamn, he's a motherfucking beast. Shit, he got more fight now than when we hauled him in.
Watch it. Don't let him jump out of the tub. We lose him and it's over.
Relax, bitch. I got him. You get the scale ready. We're taking this one home, no doubt.
Hi there. Welcome to the Live Well, where we crack open a ramp beer and attempt to answer all of your burning questions.
All right, guys, the Live Well, it is back. The Live Well has been, I think, one of the most popular segments of the Jigs and Bigs podcast for a little while right now. And I am here for it because it's all about community. It's all about having a conversation and getting some feedback from the two of us on the program and kind of, diving into it. And we have 3 different phone calls that came in this week alone on the hotline. So we're going to go ahead and chime in. We got 2 calls, one last week, right after the show had dropped, from Brandon White, and then he followed up with another question just this weekend, and then we had one that I think is perfect that comes in from Binny Outdoors. But we're gonna hear from Brandon first about he's got a question here regarding lure presentation.
Joe Bobby, and who the fuck is Joe Brown? So, yeah, question for the Live Well, man. So when you're fishing, right, and just say you got a couple setups, like 3 setups, right? How do you know when to change out, when to find out which colors to play around with? And how would you choose on what conditions? Thank you. Peace out. Tight lines.
All right. So he's asking, if you've got multiple setups, and he wants to know what the relationship is with selecting colors for the conditions. And there's a little bit of a short and simple way to kind of tie this together. And it involves water color and water clarity. So if you've got like crystal clear water and great visibility, you want to present a more natural color. And that's going to change depending on what the forage is in that body of water. So obviously if you're talking about, like shad, you've got shad in that body of water, you're going to throw more like whites and silvers. And if you've got more like bluegill or perch, or any other type of size, you have a crappie, you're going to lean more a little bit toward your more natural colors like green pumpkin or watermelon red flake is another real popular color, stuff like that. When you're talking about low visibility, where you've got really, really heavily stained water, muddy water like chocolate milk, honestly, if they're going to see a color, it's going to go on the extreme sides. It's going to go extremely dark, where they're just seeing like the shadow, the outline, or you want to go extremely bright so that it can show up. So you're talking about your whites and your bright chartreuse, things like that. On your dark end, that's where your blacks, blues, purples, those work really, really well. Now, that's just like a general loose rule as far as like selecting a color. Becca, what do you think? Like, where do you weigh in with that? Do you have any other kind of tips or anything, any other things that people should look for?
I've always just done water clarity to pick my color. There's so many baits out there now too that also have like multiple different colors. Like one section will be dark, the other will be green pumpkin.
Yep.
So like I always keep something on me that like is a little bit of both. But yeah, like you always hear like chartreuse in like crystal clear water, like you can do that, but chartreuse also works in dark, like muddy water too. So it's just always having a little bit of everything on you, because water clarity changes all the time. one day it could be clear at the same pond, the next day it couldn't be. It always changes.
And I think also like the same can also sort of be said for like hard baits too. You know, we're not just talking like plastics and stuff. If you're throwing, you know, let's say you're throwing a jerk bait and it's super clear water, maybe you lean towards something that's like a little bit more translucent. Like it's got a translucent belly and a little bit more like subtle with the presentation versus when you're in like absolute like just chocolate milk and you're throwing some kind of a hard bait. That's where you want like a really bright or a really dark presentation to kind of show up. And also like in those muddy like situations, a lot of the time that's where I rely more on vibration to let the fish know where the bait is. So like if I'm throwing a crankbait, I'm going to make sure that bait has like some heavy rattles, like a one knocker or something to kind of really, really draw some attention. A bladed jig is a really good choice because then regardless of the color, they're going to hear it and we'll be able to at least use that as a way to detect where it is. But I wish I could say like there was specific like, oh yeah, if you throw this with a certain orange or a copper flake, it's going to get bit every time. It's not that way. But the general thing would be if you find like, let's say a soft plastic. All right, let's say it's a stick bait. Okay. And you have stick baits that you really like. So, you know, I know that I know Brandon is in the New Jersey area, so he's an East Coast guy. I don't know if they've got shad down there. I don't. I'm not sure if they've got shad down there or not in those bodies of water. But let's assume that they do. So maybe what you would want to do is have a white stick bait to throw as a wacky or a Texas rig, you know, plastic to have in pretty much most situations. You could match the hatch. You could do dirty water. You could do clear water, and it still would look fairly natural. The next color I would recommend would be doing like a green pumpkin or a watermelon red flake. Like pick your poison. Whatever you have a better feeling with, go for that. And then I would do something super dark, like a black and blue. So you would have 3 colors of a stick bait right there versus having to buy like 25 different colors for just playing this little nuance. You know, this way, you kind of have like your bases covered. As far as when to change color, I would make that decision upon looking at the water. You know, and also doing your research as far as the forage. So if it is super clear, maybe go with as natural as you possibly can. You know, if you're going to throw a weightless fluke around, you know, as a soft jerk bait, and you're going to throw this bait around, and it's a lake that's got shad, then you know going in that clear water with white is great. But if you know that it's a lake that they're primarily eating like perch and bluegill, throw something in that more like green pumpkin sort of world, something like that. And don't be afraid to add a little bit of additive to your plastics. You know, sometimes you'll have water that's a little bit stained and, you know, it's a bluegill kind of lake. Like that's the forage. That's what they're munching. So you're throwing something that's green pumpkin. Don't be afraid to throw a little bit of spike it on there or whatever, you know, marker or dip that you choose to kind of add a little bit of highlight on there and get a little bit crazy with it. Experiment. Color is a fun thing to play with, but it doesn't have to be too complex. So I think that about covers it for that question. Let's shift gears and go toward Brandon's second question here.
What's up, Bobby? YP the God. So I was wondering, I was out on the water packing up right now. So this is for just the tip. Actually, 2 just the tips. So when bringing new people out on the water, they had a good time and stuff. What lure should I use for them to start out on? And for myself, I'm dealing with heavy cover for heavy on grass and stuff. Obviously, the medium light is not going to cut it. What would you suggest? A heavy or medium heavy? I got a medium heavy bait caster. So I was wondering what you suggest to use. YP the God, tight lines.
So this is actually a two-parter. He asks about going and fishing with folks that are new to it and setting them up with baits to utilize and what they should use in order to get some bites. And then the second one he was asking about for himself when he's fishing, more heavy cover or a lot of weeds. He's got this medium light setup that he likes. He's like, that's probably not going to be the work. Should I be using my medium heavy stuff? So let's go ahead. We'll start talking because Becca and I can each relate to this first half, going out and fishing with some folks that haven't fished, because we're going to be doing exactly that this week together.
Yes.
I'm very excited.
It's one of my favorite things to do too. And every single time I've always done a wacky rig. Every single time.
It works all the time. You know what? One of your first videos that I ever watched, and it struck me right away, was you were fishing with, I think it was two girls that you worked with or something like that. And you brought them out fishing and you were fishing like a retention pond, like just some random body of water. I think like it was near like a shopping mall or something like that. It was like, it was the most random little tiny body of water. And that's what you did. You had them throwing a whack. And I remember you explaining it to them. They're like, that's why you call it a wacky rig. You just cast it, you let it sink a little bit, and then you just whack it. And then I'm like, that is just genius right there. It's really
also
is.
Like an exposed hook like that too, for people that don't fish. Like,
it helps.
You can get away with not setting the hook if a fish grabs it.
That's true.
You can get away with it most of the time, so because they don't really, when it's someone's first time fishing, like they're not setting the hook like you and I are. They're just not doing that. They don't, it takes a little bit to catch that feel for it. So,
definitely.
Usually, like if there's a way to have an exposed hook that like I know is going to get bit, it's the wacky rig. I always just make people throw the wacky.
Yeah.
And it's never let me down.
No, I think it is a home run. I mean, a stick bait in general will work so well a lot of the time. Yeah. And I mean, even if it's not necessarily a wacky rig per se, like there are some things that you can do to fool around with it to get, to make it work more in your situation. Let's say you're fishing like an area with like a lot of like pea gravel or something like that. And you're like, dragging something on the bottom might be a little bit more of the move. Like Nico rigging that with a simple nail weight in there is a great way to do that. Get it to the bottom a little bit faster, drag it along the bottom. But because of the way that you angle the hook so that the tip is on the top side, you're not going to hook that hook point into much else. You've got the face of that plastic digging into the bottom and then the tail getting all the attention. And that can be a real helpful way too. I like to tell people, I think that there are realistically like 3 rigs that you can give to an absolute noob and they can do really well with. 3 presentations and they can all be thrown on a pretty basic spinning combo and be great. First is the first one is, like you said, just a wacky. I think it's a home run. Stick bait is great. What I run into sometimes with fishing with people is sometimes folks they feel like that's a little too passive. Like they make a cast and like they can't search water effectively with that necessarily. Now, if you Texas rig it and you have them work it almost like a jerk bait, then they could maybe cover water a little bit, a little bit more efficiently. The second one, I always say, a small paddle tail swim bait and a jig head is your best friend. Because you throw this thing, it's super natural, it's subtle, if it's a bite where like it's screaming conditions and you're like a spinnerbait would work, throw that on. Whatever you think the conditions are going to do, that's the way to do it. There isn't like a beginner rig that works, but things that are generally fairly simple, pretty easy to put together will help a lot. But that's swim bait, just being able to have them chuck and wind with that. It's a good natural sort of presentation and it gets eaten by so much stuff. And if they're not really digging on something with blades or anything moving or any kind of crazy vibration, that is a little bit more subtle and it might get them a couple more bites or bit period, which is a big deal. The other one, and I know it's not going to be popular, but is a Ned rig or finesse jig. Either one.
Yep.
And
then I think like an honorable mention would be like an underspin.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, an underspin is great. Yeah. You throw something on like that where they can chuck and wind and they're like, it gives them something more to do, you know? And sometimes that finesse jig can play double duty. Like there's one finesse jig, and I've talked about it at length before, by Giltech. And it's just the ideal size hook. It's a small amount of skirt material. And the weights that are available in there are light enough so you can throw them on the lightest gear, or heavy enough to where I want to say they come as big as a 1/4 ounce. So like they'll get to the bottom. And I will throw like 2 or 3-inch paddle tails on here, and they are great moving baits. They're a little bit bulkier than a standard swim bait on a jig head, but like that, something like that can do double duty for you. And at least with a like the finesse jig, like the Giltech, like I'm talking about, there is a weed guard. So you've got something helping you.
A rooster tail. That's what I was.
Oh yeah, that's another good one too.
Yep, I meant to say rooster tail before the underspin would probably be my bet. Would rooster tail before, and then maybe 5th underspin. But rooster tail can't go wrong. It will literally catch anything.
What do you want to target when we go with Maria? Do you have like?
I don't know. I want something that definitely like fights hard. So like my brain goes towards like smallmouth, but then I'm like, do we want to catch numbers? Do we? I don't know.
Yeah. So I would
really just love where we just went.
I know that was really good. I wouldn't necessarily be against that. I really wouldn't. I really, really wouldn't. We gotta plan some stuff. We gotta plan some stuff.
Yeah, let me look, because I got a couple spots. They're just really far, but they would be really fun.
Yeah, I got, and I'll see. Weather for Thursday looks like a bitch, but I'm hoping it's going to blow off. I'm really hoping that's going to blow off. I'll have Eleanor too. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a boat full of freaking craziness. It's going to be so good. I'm so excited. John Hagens chimes in here. He goes, I had a bag of 4-inch purple twister tails in the bottom of my bag forever, and I never used them. I was having a tough day and decided to try something new. Threw one and got smoked by a 9-pounder. Sometimes that's just how it is. Oh, it's a 9-pound hybrid striper. Nice, dude. Fast stained water that day. No shit. Dark colors, man. Stained water. You know, it gets the job done. So the other question was, he was asking about fishing heavy cover. So what I would suggest is this. I think, honestly, Brandon, I think that your choice in the combo you're using has more to do with the presentation and the bait that you're going to throw. You know, so if you're throwing in weeds, all right, like you're throwing in, let's say, heavy weeds, you're throwing stuff like that, I think you're going to lean toward certain baits. Like there are people who hate fishing chatterbaits in bladed jigs in weeds. I was one of those people that was like, oh, they're always getting hung up and blah, 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 blah.
You need to rip those things.
It was something that I just wasn't really necessarily understanding, but like getting those baits in the weeds and then just like ripping them out is an amazing way to get a reaction strike. Sometimes even more than the bait drawing with that vibration, it's snapping free out of those weeds and releasing all those weeds is enough to get something nearby fired up to actually strike on it. Now, I will say, like, it's going to depend on what it is that you're throwing. So if you're throwing something really light and you're trying to go over the top of those weeds, maybe you're throwing an inline spinner. You know, that was a situation that I was doing just last Wednesday. And what I was doing is I was making a cast on an ultralight combo, right, and keeping my rod tip pointed up high and retrieving up so that bait was just subsurface, because it was only about 6 or 8 inches that we were getting into some grass, and pretty thick grass with some current too. So it's all leaning like one way. And, you know, I was getting bites that way because these fish were just in between this little openings in between, and they would just dart up and just hammer that inline spinner. But like I said, if, you know, like when I was fishing for the pike and I was fishing a weed edge, I was throwing this on like a 7.3 medium heavy, moderate fast rod. And I was throwing a 1/2 ounce bladed jig with like a 5-inch trailer and just like ripping this thing out of the weeds once I got it in there. And I think that's the thing. You want to have, you know, you want to let the cover dictate what the bait is, but just because it's heavy cover doesn't mean you're always going to throw like the 4-wheel drive baits. It doesn't mean you're going to throw a flipping jig all the time. And then based on what you're throwing, that's when you want to make the choice in the rod. So consider the cover. What's the presentation that you're throwing, and how are you approaching it, and what are you doing? A good example is I like to fish laydowns a lot. You see a tree laying in the water, branches going everywhere, brush and debris kind of gets connected all over the place. I am going to run a finesse swim bait or a bladed jig along the outsides, square bill around the outsides of those pieces of cover. I'm going to run around the edge there. And the reason is I know I'm going to get hung up if I put that bait in there. However, in those situations, if I'm throwing a finesse swim bait and I'm not getting bit, the next thing I'm going to throw in there is some kind of a jig, either a flipping jig with a craw, or I'm going to throw maybe even a swim bait, and I'll swim it into the stuff. And because that's got a weed guard, it helps from getting hung up. And you've got a little bit more barrier that you can get into the shit before you're going to get hung up. So, and of course, having that heavier rod lets you kind of rip things out if you need to. But especially with grass, man, rip that shit. Go with a heavy rod, but do it with let the presentation that you're throwing, think about all the pieces involved before you make that choice, and you'll be good to go. So that does that. Now, for our final question, this one comes from Binny Outdoors. And, this is great. I think the timing for this is perfect. Well, let's take a listen.
Hey guys, it's Binya. I had a question. I was kind of curious. So it comes with a story, but me and Enthusiast Adventurer were out on a lake and we were being harassed by a jet skier that constantly was circling around us. My question for you guys for the live well is, do you guys prefer an 1.5 ounce or a 2 ounce weight to throw at lake lice? Just kind of curious what you guys do. I prefer an ounce, but I heard some people like to throw a little bit heavier weight to really get that point across. Just kind of curious what your guys' thoughts are on that. Thanks, guys.
That right there. So Binny is asking, what is the weight of the sinker that we're going to throw at lake lice as they go and make our lives hell? And I'm just saying that the timing for this couldn't be perfect because we are rolling up on Memorial Day weekend, Becca.
It's going to be brutal.
It's going to be.
But I stay away.
I want to, but I can't. I want to. I know I should, but I'm going to be out there with the boat. I'm going to be out there at the ass crack of dawn, and I'm going to get off the water at 11 o'clock each day. I don't want to fuck with the dummies. I might actually even drop my boat into some bodies of water where other other large boats won't be for the most part because it's just not that kind of body of water. Just to avoid it and just to get some peace and be able to fish and not have to deal. I don't know. I really don't know. I think I'm definitely staying away from the Connecticut River though, Saturday and Sunday.
Yes.
I'm afraid. I don't even know if that ramp is going to be open, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah. Oh, why you think they'd close it?
Well, so the rain has been so crazy and the water levels so unbelievably high up there that they have locked the gate on a number of occasions because the water is actually up into the parking lot. Last Thursday when I went by on my way to trivia night, I went past and the water had finally gotten back down to the edge of the ramp, but the gate was still locked. So this could be kind of crazy because, in fact, I think Saturday there, Berkshire Bass has a bass tournament there. Either Saturday or Sunday.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I've done that tournament once before with Joe. And we had a blast, but the idiots are abundant.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
It's brutal. So
it is dangerous out there.
Who knows? But you've been on the water for years. And and you've done it all. You've had kayaks, you'd have boats. When you have rec boaters, jet skis, what size weight would you like to throw when you're out there?
A lithium battery.
A lithium battery, dude.
Something heavy. The heaviest thing on the boat.
Yeah.
I don't know, your Hummingbird fish finder.
Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah,
that'll definitely do. I like to. I definitely wouldn't throw tungsten, because that shit's not cheap.
Too expensive.
It's dense. You know what I mean? And it's gonna fuck some shit up. Nothing chips a clear coat though, like a tungsten flipping weight.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like it is dynamite. So yeah, if you put a whole rig together, but I would say realistically, if you have a rod that loads up pretty good, and I think that's the relationship, you got to look at the rod that you're throwing it on versus the weight. If that rod loads up really good, you're going to get all of the velocity that you need out of that weight. And the smaller it is, the more damage it's actually going to do to their paint. You get that tiny little point of contact, and then just like ping, might even like bust through the plastic on that jet ski.
Bummer.
Oh, that's terrible. So I would say definitely pay attention to the way that your rod loads up, and see what happens there. Obviously, you're going to need it to load up to make that big of a cast. But I mean, go for it. Another thing you can do is take your line, right, and take like 4 or 5 feet out, hold it, cut it, and then just like put like a sloppy knot. All right. Reel that in onto the spool, and then do the cast so that knot just comes undone, and then you don't have to worry about it. It's just a projectile just going. Oh
yeah, we were thinking lawsuits now, right? Because that would be good.
That would be.
You could get away with that one.
It would be amazing. Just cut it just a little bit so that you're like, oh, I went to go stop. Oh, my line snapped.
I'm so sorry.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
What a terrible thing to happen. At least I got my rum ham here, I mean, come on. So
at least I got my watermelon.
That's what I'm saying. Oh man. I am a sucker for the salty and savory, or for the sweet and savory flavors together. Like
me too.
I'm telling you. Old school Italians know prosciutto and cantaloupe together. Magic.
Ooh.
Magic. Are you or I think I might have asked you this before, but are you a fries in your frosty kind of girl? No, you're not a frosty girl.
Well,
yeah.
I used to be able to, but yes, fries and yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
100%.
All right. So you definitely get it. I love this. Yeah. We got everybody's favorite ginger chode in the house. Pat Martin says, hey, just checking in real quick to say hi. Can't even bitch about Monday recordings anymore. I'm stuck working Sundays too for the next month. Jesus Christ. Buffalo nonsense, he says. I ordered some buffalo nonsense from a pizza place the last time we ordered out, and it wasn't great. I was a little disappointed, to be honest with you. I got to come down to Southern Rhode Island and get it done right. Get it done fucking right. Becca, does pineapple go on pizza or no?
Obviously.
Okay, fair. I like that. I like your open-mindedness. That's good. Guys.
Yeah, it's delicious.
I think that's going to be a wrap for this week's show. I think we did pretty goddamn good. And who the fuck is Joe Brown? I hope he's enjoying his time on his cruise ship. I hope he's doing well and enjoying himself. They brought the whole family too, all the kids.
Oh, that's nice.
It's adorable.
I'm jealous.
It's adorable, but I'm like, man. But I'll tell you what, I think a cruise ship for a family vacation is fantastic because they have so many activities for kids of all ages. They can go and do stuff and make friends, and it's pretty badass. So I'm stoked for him. And I'm sure we're going to get a full update. I wonder if he's going to do any fishing off the back of the boat. Who even knows? But it's going to be good stuff. Anyway, Becca, thank you for co-hosting with me. You were absolutely awesome. I think the Jigs and Bigs family thinks you did fantastic. And we appreciate you.
I came so prepared.
You were on it. You're on it with notes, the whole 9 yards. That's the thing about this show. It is very fast and loose all the time. Like you got a sneak peek into what the notes actually look like. There's hardly anything on that fucking sheet at all. It's just like, make sure to mention this. Oh, and this is your guest. Don't fuck up their name. That's pretty much it.
People can tell when it's like so pre put together, no one cares for that stuff. Like we're supposed to just be shooting shit.
You want it to be as organic and natural as possible. And I think that's what we achieved. This is awesome, Becca. We're going to go ahead and wrap this sucker up, guys. Do me a favor. Fishing season is in full swing. Everybody's out there on the water. Everybody's out there enjoying themselves. As always, you can check out jigsandbigs.com for all the information. I am going to be updating with registration for the June events that are coming up. But the May slot limit tournament on May the 31st is coming up. It's a week from this coming Saturday. So go ahead and get registered. We only have 3 anglers last I checked that were in there. We've got Binya, we've got Steve Sells, and Sean the Fisherman has entered this one. Sean the Fisherman has entered the chat. Watch out. And he's put up you're talking about a man who's put up 400 inches in a single day in one of these catch-em-all style tournaments. So it might be a problem. Let's see what happens. So go ahead, get yourselves registered. It's going to be absolutely awesome. Becca, we can't talk about this on here because we might actually piss off some jig heads. But if you want to do this slot limit tournament on the 31st, there's that body of water that you and I both know. And I am more than game. Although I think we did really great at that last body of water that we just fished. To tell you the truth, I think if I'm going to stay in state, that's probably where I'm going to go.
Yep.
Yeah. I think.
All right. We'll talk more deets.
Yeah.
We'll talk more deets.
I love it. It'll be awesome. You guys have yourself a great one. Remember, tag us in your fishy content. We'd love to throw you a like, a share, comments, all that kind of stuff, and engage. Remember, check out everything all at jigsandbigs.com, including the YouTube channel. I have it's going to end up being, I think, a 4-part series of everything that went down for the Scavenger Hunt Open. And on next week's show, just tomorrow, I am recording a segment with Tim Behan and John Hagens, the 2 men who absolutely destroyed me in this tournament, and we're gonna have a great conversation because the Scavenger Hunt Open was amazing. October is gonna be insane. Buckle up, folks. Get on in it so you can be part of the championship next year and really throw down and see what we can do in just a couple of days. Have yourselves a great one, everybody. We appreciate you more than you know. We've got the best listeners everywhere. Rate and review the show on the platform of your choice. And as we always say,
tits and ass, smoke some grass.